We out here. It's the late night boxing talks. Let's turn the ticker on. Let's get this morning. You know what I mean? A lot of things going on. Much of it is what we're accustomed to, what we're used to. There are still, if you can believe this, there are still people arguing in Errol Spence Jr.'s defense, even though to anyone with a functioning brain cell, it's obvious that for the last few years, the goal has been to put distance between Errol and Terrence and making that fight. And all manner of device and excuses have been used. That Paroquá, what it do? And all manner of devices and mental gymnastics have been employed. Nesta Gibbs of the Boxing Voice, he's been roasting these guys for a little bit over a week now. You know, these guys that call into the show, his show, and try to make excuses for Errol Spence Jr., you know, when it's obvious. Like, it's like, bruh, what are y'all even arguing at this point? And who are you trying to convince with the stuff that you're saying? You know what I mean? Because it's obvious. It was obvious in 2018 when, you know, Terrence was talking about doing the fight. He confronted Spence. We all saw that video. It was obvious then, you know, when Errol came up with 4 names that Al Heyman gave him, and Terrence Crawford asked him outright. He didn't mention me, did he? And Errol said no, he didn't. I mean, if that's not enough for you to know that it was not the plan to do the fight, I don't know what it's going to take. What's goody, Kelvin? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to play a soundbite for you guys, and, you know, let me know what you think in the comments. This was a caller. A caller called into Nesta Gibbs' show during the live, The Boxing Voice. And, you know, they were talking about stuff. I'm gonna pull it up right now, and you guys tell me what you think. Let me see. Where is it? Did I pass it? Let me see if I passed it. All right, I found it. So here you go, guys. Just listen in. You know, very fun soundbite. Once again, shout out to Nesta Gibbs for roasting these guys and just not wasting any time in doing so, because they think that because they have something to say that it's a cohesive argument, that it's an argument that makes any kind of sense. And that's what I notice about a lot of these guys, that their defense or their retort is simply being obtuse, being nonsensical, or illogical. I know that because I run into a lot of these kinds of guys on social media. Occasionally here on YouTube, but not anymore. You know, I tell these guys, if you want to discuss it, we can discuss it live here on the channel. You know, I don't really want to keep going back and forth on Twitter, flooding my timeline with a conversation. Like, there's one guy, I forget the guy's name. He's been at it for something like 2 days, and I extended an invite that, you know, if you want to jump on and talk about it live, we can do that, because that's, you know, I don't want to keep going back and forth on Twitter, you know, and you know, one of those kinds of guys, just one of those kinds of mentally deficient individuals. They called in the Boxing Voice earlier today, and you know, I'll let you guys listen in.
Because he's selling them under the pretenses that we're getting a fight that we're emotionally invested to. I only bought the shirt to wear it on fight night.
Which shirt are you referring to? Are you referring to the
both? The one after Ugas, the one after the negotiate. Both. The one after Earl. Earl literally used Crawford to sell this shirt. Don't you get it? He waited for Crawford to fight Abanesian. After the Abanesian fight, posted the shirt insinuating him and Crawford were going to negotiate for a fight. Like, I don't see how this is hard for y'all.
It's really not that hard to believe, considering that David Abanesian, Errol Smith, David Abanesian, when the Crawford fight was announced, it usually takes a graphic designer a couple days or a couple weeks to put out a design like that.
Champ, don't do that. It takes hours. We literally have a graphic designer on payroll. He makes every single thumbnail and everything you see.
Honest,
and let me finish. It does work like that. I've been selling merch on. I gotta go, bro. My friend, are you gonna sit here and lie to our audience of over 1,000 people watching that no graphic designer can create an image for a T-shirt in a day?
That guy's a graphic illustrator.
Can a graphic illustrator create a shirt in a day? Yes or no?
But that's certain people.
Okay. So Art Man,
that's what I'm asking.
So Art Man, what was your point about it taking 3 days? So Crawford fought on December 10th, and the shirt came out December 13th. Is what you're saying?
My point is, the graphic designer could have been working on it the day that Bud announced that David had amnesia fight.
Okay. But did the shirt not drop for sale
the day of the fight? No, it dropped the day. He dropped it the day of the fight.
Exactly. Like, what is this?
To basically taunt Bud for declining that fight.
I gotta go, man. I can't, man. I gave you 2 calls, but it's clear that you are an Earl fan. He said Earl used Crawford's date to taunt Crawford, not to capitalize off his fans and insinuate that he was about to negotiate with the dude that just became available to negotiate with.
I used to think that a lot of these guys were fooled, or that most of them were fooled by Errol, when the truth is that some of them aren't necessarily fooled. They're not necessarily fooled by what Errol's doing so much as they're celebrating what he's doing because they don't want him to fight Terrence Crawford. They are so emotionally invested in that fight and its outcome that they don't actually want it to happen because they fear that if it happens, if it goes the other way, they're going to feel very silly, So when Errol made all these moves the last 4 years, where he ends up fighting these people that like, yo, dog, why are you fighting Mikey Garcia? Why are you unifying with Sean instead of Bud? We want you to unify with Bud, not Sean. Why are you fighting Danny Garcia? If you saying that you don't take tune-up fights, go ahead, fight Crawford. Fight Crawford if you don't take tune-up fights. Then what do? You put more emphasis on unifying with Ugas, who was elevated to champion, who was not the guy we've been asking you to fight for 4 years. You unify with him. And the latest thing, he's got to fight Thurman because the WBC ordered him to fight Thurman. That's his mandatory. He's fighting a mandatory at 154, a mandatory from 147. He's fighting him at 154. Like some of these guys really are brain dead. Don't get me wrong. Some of them actually read the cover story and they just go with it just because it's pro Errol. But some of these guys know exactly what's going on, and what they try to do is play devil's advocate. They almost try to be a defense attorney for Errol, and they'll come up with any cockamamie harebrained scenario to explain, like, bro, if he fought, right, Bud fought last year, he fought, right, and you free right now. You free right now. And if the WBC is letting you go to 154, then surely they would let you fight Bud. Ain't nobody dumb out here. But that's one of those things that I didn't want to be right about. Those of you that have been with the channel for a long time, y'all heard me say they not never gonna fight. That shit not never gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I've been said that. That shit, all them catchphrases like strap season, man down, I'ma spin the block, all that shit is gimmicks, bruh. That shit is gimmicks to sell t-shirts and hot dogs. That dude don't want no problems with Bud, man. Trying to tell y'all that dude don't want no problems with Bud. Y'all don't want to believe me. And what's worse, some of y'all do believe me. Y'all know he don't want no problems with Bud, but y'all still on Errol dick anyway. You can't make it up. They turned some boxing shit where it's about the 2 men in the ring. They turned it into some like Mean Girls click shit. They turned it into some, you didn't like Al Heyman? No, I don't fucking like Al Heyman. The fuck I'ma like Al Heyman for? Does he pay any bills around here? Fuck boy, the LDBC's best defender. I see he got over Wilder real quick. Pathetic as they. Yeah, man, like, bruh. I knew then that psychologically, because that's Art Man. For those of y'all that don't know, that was Art Man. And I knew then that, like, you want some shit where it's not about what we're talking about, it's about who we're talking about. At which point, if all you care about is the who, there's no debate to be had. You just going to rationalize it. Your mind is going to work to rationalize it in this person's favor no matter what. It's not about what we talking about. It's about the who. So long as it's a Heyman fighter and so long as it involves Heyman, he could never be wrong. You know, Oscar De La Hoya, shout out to my man Steve Kim, you know what I mean, of the 3 knockdown rule. You know what I mean? He caught up with Oscar De La Hoya. He talked to Oscar, who was doing a press conference. I think it was for Alexis Rocha's next fight. He talked to Oscar, and this is what Oscar had to say.
It's not happening in boxing. It's happening with the PBC stable. You know, it's the PBC effect. It's the El Heyman effect. That's all it is. We're trying to make the best fights that we can. Hopefully, by today we can have Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis signed, sealed, and delivered. So we want to make the best fights possible. I know Top Rank does. Bob Arum, he works with everyone. I've worked with every promoter out there, but it's the PBC effect. That's all it is. It's not the boxing world who cannot get together and make fights. It's the PBC effect. All right, we'll be checking your Twitter for updates.
Shout out to my man Oscar De La Hoya. Shout out to my man Steve Kim. And it is the truth that, look, it is a political environment. You know, it is an environment where at times, yes, people protect their assets. And there is a lot of hypocrisy. It's not that there isn't. But fights still get made. You know, Felix Cash, a Matchroom fighter, did fight Denzel Bentley, who at that time was with Queensberry. John Ryder, a Matchroom fighter, very recently. He went in there with unbeaten Zach Parker, a Queensberry Promotions fighter. You know what I mean? Not last year, but the year before that, F.A. Ajagba, a top-ranked fighter. He did fight a PBC fighter, but it's the fights that matter. And it's the fights that count that Heyman always gets in the way of. Everybody was hyped over Wilder versus AJ. I told y'all that shit ain't going to happen. And all they really do is develop these smear campaigns to where it's always the other person's fault. Oh, it's that AJ don't want it. Oh, it's that Eddie Hearn don't want it. It's literally the same thing on repeat. It's the same cycle. You know, you act like you want it and you want to create a wave with it, but when push come to shove, you don't do it. You chose to fight Fury and it blew up in your face. That's what happened. And with Errol, I see that something very similar is around the corner. Something very similar. That if you would have lost the Bud, never mind these dick eaters, if you lose the Bud, you lose with honor. That you did that. They're like, bro, I ain't scared of no Bud Crawford. You lose with honor. The honor that Sugar Ray Leonard had when he lost to Roberto Duran, and the honor that Duran had when he lost to Leonard in a rematch. You know, you lose with honor. Tommy Hearns is still considered an all-time great, even though Sugar Ray Leonard beat him. And Marvin Hagler beat him. You lose with honor. But that dude don't got no honor, man. What Al Heyman did to boxing is he distorted it. He made these guys believe that you could have the business without the legacy. Oh, yeah, you can have the business without the legacy when the biggest names in the business have a legacy. Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard. These is the big names. Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins. These is the names. But he convinced these guys that you could take shortcuts, that you could skip steps, that you could do other alternative bullshit. You can't compensate for content. You can't substitute the fight. You can't. If the fight for the last 4 years has been Spence and Crawford, then that's what you need to do. But I've been telling y'all, he not trying to do that. They will come up with anything not to do that fight. Before it was the sides of the street. Oh, he would Top Rank. Well, you did a fight with Tyson Fury and he would Top Rank. So how is it that he would Top Rank if y'all just did a fight with a Top Rank fighter? And these sheep, these brain dead dudes, they go with it. Shout out to my man JRV1. They are willing to feed Spence the Canelo. Those channels don't talk about that. Mi hermano, eso no es la verdad. It was Tom Brown of the PBC who stated, we offered Canelo X amount of dollars and Errol Spence Jr. was one of the alternatives. Benavidez, Charlo, or Spence. So you cool, and make no mistake, Spence is lucky that Canelo didn't care about him, because if Canelo would have fought him, he'd have knocked his ass out. The same way Triple G knocked out Kell Brook, little welterweight who thought he could go to middleweight, that's the same way you would have got knocked out. It's the same way. What it do, Julio? Que lo que? You know what I mean? But basically what he did, you know, it's a 2 to a 3-pronged process, basically. And what he basically did is he seems to have convinced his fighters that you can have big business and big fights in the sport without risks. And no, you can't. You literally can't. That's why Gervonta Davis ain't ever cracked 300,000 pay-per-view buys, because you can't draw people in without risks. It's the risks that make people watch. It's the risks and the fighters that are brave enough to take them that bring people out, that make people remember. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, they risked it all. Their reputations, their legacies, you know what I mean? And in the end, everybody won. It was no losers in that fight. Katie won, Amanda won, the fans won, the sport won, just for the fight having happened. But when you see these guys, right? You see this Errol Spence shit, and they still arguing in his defense. I got a guy, he's been arguing for 3 days, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Shout out to my man Will. The funny thing is that a lot of people dislike you, and yet you have never once told a lie since I found your channel. You figured it all out, and nobody believes you, even with all the proof on hand. Well, look, wise man once told me that telling the truth will make you enemies. Thankfully, none of these people are strong enough to be my enemy. And I'll leave it there. You know, he convinced his fighters that you can take shortcuts, that he basically showed them a distorted and perverse version of the sport that actually hurts the sport and hurts them. It hurts their careers, because for all this talk about Heyman being this wizard, who did you groom? Who did you develop that went on to be as big or bigger than Canelo? He's a legacy fighter. He has a legacy. 4 division, 3-time unified, 3-time Ring Magazine, 3-time lineal. I think it's 3 times. It's either 2 or 3 times. But bruh, in other words, this is a fighter that has a legacy. And it's not a coincidence that this is a fighter that by far and wide outsells every fighter you have. Every single one. Wilder, Spence, Davis. Y'all still trying to crack 300,000 buys with them guys. Y'all not at a point where you could put one of them out there right now and he'll bring you back 300,000 buys. Canelo could go in there with an unknown Russian and bring you back 500,000 buys. Unknown Russian guy. Most people don't know him. Looks like a Bond villain. It still gets you 500,000 buys. Why? Because of the risks. Only these social media guys, only they think that they making sense. And it's like, bro, the reason y'all don't want to jump on lives and say that same shit y'all be saying on Twitter is because you know once you say it, you're going to sound stupid. You can only do that on Twitter. You can only get away with that on Twitter. In real time, face to face, y'all know that the arguments you're making don't even make sense. None of it makes sense. If Errol told y'all in 2018 that Al Heyman gave him 4 names and none of those names was Terrence Crawford's name, what are you confused about? What's the lost part? What's the part that you're missing? When Errol told y'all that Terrence is on the wrong side of the street, you never stopped to think, well, wait a minute. Terrence on the same side of the street as Tyson Fury. And y'all just made a fight with him. So why you can't make a fight with Terrence? You don't got the critical thinking skills? You know what I'm saying? To Oscar's credit, Oscar said something that's very true. This thing with Heyman that has been going on It's not widespread, believe it or not. And I say that all the time here on this channel. It's not as widespread as it's made out to be, even though we talk about it often, but it's because we're annoyed by it. In the greater scheme of things, it's fighters out there, they got guts, man. They got fucking guts. Lee Wood is about to fight Mauricio Lara for no fucking reason. You do not have to fight this guy. You could have fought Josh Warrington, got that domestic money, you know? You could fight Mick Conlon again, run it back with him. That shit'll do numbers. You a champion now. You could have asked for an easy one, a voluntary. But no, Lee Wood is not a bitch. I'm even wondering, like, yo, why are you fighting this dude, bro? That dude hit so hard the referee fell down. Why are you fighting this dude? Fighting him. You got a lot of people I saw the last week or so, they were talking about, oh, DAZN, I don't like influencer fights, so I'm not subscribing again. Well, how you gonna watch Lee Wood versus Mauricio Lara, Mr. Boxing fan? How you gonna watch it? How are you gonna watch that fight? That's a good fight. Somebody getting knocked out. Somebody getting knocked the fuck out. Probably gonna be Lee Wood, but God bless him. Probably gonna get knocked the fuck out though. And you telling me, Mr. Boxing fan, oh, I'm not subscribed to. All right, bro. You got it, bro. My subscription is active. My subscription is annual because I'm not broke like you. I pay for the year. I don't even do the month. I pay for the year. Yeah, he got cooked, bro. He got cooked. But what I liked about Nesta is he cut that shit off quick because what people like that, not exclusive to him, but what people like that want is they want to be heard. They want to be seen. They don't even care if what they're saying is stupid, or maybe they just don't realize that what they're saying sounds stupid. They just want to be seen. So I'm glad that he didn't give him that much air, because it's like, bro, you literally doing mental gymnastics in your brain. First you said, well, you can't do that in one day. Yes, the fuck you can. You can make a stencil and all that bullshit in one day, bro. Just because you got a Cracker Jack operation, a mom and pop shop operation, that don't mean everybody like that. You could literally make a design and a stencil for it all in one day, bro. You ain't building rockets, you know? He was on a Boxing Voice earlier, and Nesta cooked him, bro. Look, follow an account on Twitter called According to Boxing. Find it on Twitter. They posted the video. And I run into a lot of guys like that. I run into a lot of guys like that on Twitter that, for the life of me, I don't understand what they so afraid of. If you want to have that discussion on Twitter, like, bro, I ain't trying to sit here doing this shit all day. Like, that shit take forever. Jump on here, right? I'm showing my face. I'm not hiding nothing. What you so afraid of? Appreciate you 1 foot out the door. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. And they all do it. They all do it. They'll act whatever on Twitter. Act whatever. Say whatever on Twitter. I don't even say nothing negative back. Like, I'm like, bro, I ain't going to be over here doing all that shit you doing on Twitter. I'm not like that. All I could do is invite you to come on live and say all that dumb shit you saying. Say it live so I can record it and make money off you. Because that's what I'm going to do. And you know that's what I'm going to do, which is why you don't want to jump on. My DAZN sub auto renews yearly. No questions needed. Exactly, B. I do it by the year. I don't even do it by the month. I do it by the year. Why? If I do it by the year, it comes out cheaper than just doing it month to month. But a lot of these guys, they do the month to month. Oh, well, I don't like this month. So man, get the fuck out of here, B. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And to me, it's silliness. It's like, at this point, what I see is that they're celebrating the Thurman fight. They're celebrating it. They're relieved that it's not Crawford. They're relieved. And It's because they never wanted that fight. They never wanted that dude to fight Bud. They know in here what would happen if he fight Bud. They know. You know what I mean? And that terrified them. So they're willing to make any argument, come up with any scenario, any excuse, anything. Oh, well, Errol fought. Bro, listen, I don't give a fuck if Errol fought Danny and Andy and John Candy, all right? The guy we've been asking him to fight is who? Crawford. If Crawford didn't fight those people that Errol fought, you know why? Because they froze him out too. That's why. Didn't he send Danny a contract? Wasn't it $3 million guaranteed? With the upside of the pay-per-view. And what Danny did? He fought Granados and Red Catch, and y'all ain't say boo. He fought Granados and Red Catch. Y'all didn't say boo. Those wasn't pay-per-views, you know. It wasn't pay-per-views. You turned down more money for less money because less money was safe money. If you'd have took that offer that they made to you, Bud would have knocked you out. A whole year before Errol beat you, Bud would have knocked you. Matter of fact, a whole 2 years, because they made him that offer in 2018 so they could do the fight in 2019. You didn't fight Spence till late 2020, going into 2021. Damn near a year and a half to 2 years later. You can't make it up that Al Heyman's brand of boxing, that brand of boxing is all about the gimmicks and the shortcuts. And gimmicks, this not the music industry. In the music industry, where Al Heyman comes from, gimmicks and shortcuts, yeah, they might could get you somewhere. But this is boxing. It's not like that. That gimmick shit, why you think Errol can't do the numbers that he did with Mikey no more? Why you think? When he debuted with Mikey, 360,000 pay-per-view buys. The next one, lower. The next one, lower. The next one, even lower. I'm wondering, is anyone going to buy that Thurman fight? Anyone. That shit don't work. That shit don't work for boxing, because in boxing, what you selling is the risk. That he's a champion, he's a champion. She's a champion, she's a champion. That's what you selling. That's what we buying. You know what we not buying? Some shit you should have did 5-6 years ago. That Thurman shit is old, bruh. That's old news. That's expired milk. You could have been did that fight a minute ago. Now you just using it as an alternative for a Crawford fight because you don't want to make the Crawford fight, so here's the alternative. Fuck want to see Keith Thurman, man. Yo, he really thought that at Paraguay. He really thought that let me beat Mikey Garcia and then I will absorb his fans. Listen, bro. Ugas beat Pacquiao. Did Ugas turn into a superstar after that? No. No. Don't work like that. It really don't. Motherfucker really turned down Bud for Ivan Red Ass Crack. I'd rather watch paint dry than Thurman versus Spence. You know what I mean? And the argument rages on, but like I said, I've already made all the points that I can make about that. That's why I don't like to make the points in repetition. I'm addressing those individuals that for whatever reason, they still want to argue. You want to argue, you know why? Because you see the wave of people that they not with that bullshit. So you trying to argue against it. You literally trying to help them save face. It's not me going to their page and saying A, B, C, and D. No, they come to me. You come to my page. If I make a tweet, you come to the comments. I don't go to what the fuck y'all post because don't nobody give a fuck about that shit. Motherfucker don't care what the fuck you be tweeting. Motherfucker don't care what video you made. Motherfucker don't care. Shout out to Rocky Rodriguez. I'm not boycotting Bud. He make me proud to be an American. He tried. Bud is an American hero. I might have to interview Bud. What's next, Bud? Fuck Spence. That dude's scared to death. Ain't no such things as halfway crooks. Scared to death, you scared to look, you shook. Ain't no such things. You know what I mean? Simple, bro. Simple. You know what I mean? It's none of it is complicated, you know? You got the Gervonta Davis situation. Shout out to Rick Glacier. Rick Glacier says that, you know, his guys, his sources, they actually gave him a number for what the pay-per-view did a little over a week ago. Salt Papi got more. No la verdad. No la verdad. Salt Papi is creating more excitement in the sport than Keith Thurman. Salt Papi. Salt Papi got a knockout in recent memory. When the last time Keith Thurman knocked somebody out? When? It's been damn near 10 years since he knocked somebody out. Do y'all realize that? It's been damn near 10 years. Yeah, I mean, so we got the thing with Gervonta Davis, right? The pay-per-view was over a week ago. I mean, I think it's been 2 weeks, unless I'm mistaken. Let me check. I think it's been 2 weeks since the Hector Garcia fight, unless I'm mistaken. Let me just double check. I'm old. Bear with me. I'm old. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It's literally been 2 weeks. Just short of 2 weeks. Just a few days short. And, you know, the normal guys that put out the numbers, like Kopinger and Dan Rafael, they didn't put out a number. You know, their sources are eerily quiet. But Rick Glacier, shout out to Rick Glacier, you know, he has his own sources. And basically what he said yesterday is, look, the number is so low, I'm going to double check it before I put it out. I want to go to a different source and see, you know, if that number matches this number, which, you know, you got to respect that. Like, yeah, I ain't just going to put anything out there. Let me hold that and let me see what these people tell me. And it's the same thing. They tell you that Gervonta Davis is a star just because he's on pay-per-view, but he ain't selling shit on pay-per-view. He ain't selling 300,000, 500,000, $500,000. He ain't like, yeah, you on pay-per-view, but so was Ruiz and Areola. So was Ruiz and Ortiz. Anything ends up on pay-per-view these days. Just the act of you being on pay-per-view don't make you a star, because you ain't even selling shit on pay-per-view. You got a guy, and I know that he's probably listening because he's too scared to come on the panel. If you're not too scared, hit me up. I'll shoot you a link. The argument that he made, which I saw earlier, he was having it with someone else. He said that, well, who else at or around these weights is selling what Tank is selling? And to that, I would ask, who else at or around those weights claims to be a star? Because I don't see none of the other guys saying that they stars and they don't need nothing because they stars. I see Devin getting it in and fighting the fights. That's what I see. I see Shakur getting it in and fighting the fights. I don't see them turning their nose up at nobody like, nah. They want all the smoke. I see you acting like you too good for a lot of shit. And I'm like, how you too good for a lot of shit when you don't sell like that on pay-per-view? Like, you don't. For those that don't understand this system, they hope to generate the bulk of the cash from the pay-per-view buys. You know, the gate revenue, he does do good gates. It would be a lie to say that he doesn't bring in decent money at the gate. But you'd have to be an idiot to think that all of that money goes to him. You'd have to be stupid. You think all that money from the gate, it goes to him, all in his pocket, just like that. You know, the bulk of the cash they hope to make from those kinds of shows, it's basically from the pay-per-view. That's where they hope to generate the bulk of the money. And he doesn't generate that much on pay-per-view. Very modest amounts that, to me, if I look at it and I say, okay, what are they doing? What they're basically doing is making shows that don't cost a lot of money against opponents that don't cost a lot of money, and they're able to stay in the black because the show doesn't cost a lot of money. So even if it doesn't generate a whole lot of money, well, it didn't cost a lot of money, you know? That's how they kind of stop from flopping. He doesn't have the kind of marquee value where he can turn around and say, okay, what you want, $5 million? I got you, bro. No, you need them to bring that because you can't give them that. Don't let the Ryan Garcia fight fool you. If Ryan, and him get together, and let's say, I don't know, let's say the guarantees is 5-5. You want to know why? Because Ryan has fans. That's why. It's not you giving him that. It's that he brings that. You see what I mean? He brings that. Not you giving it to him. Whereas if you want to fight Devin Haney, which he says he does, make him an offer. Devin Haney got $2.8 million for fighting George Kambosos, right? He probably got a little more than that for the rematch. Now he about to fight Loma. If you are a bigger star than those guys, right, then you should be able to get Devin in excess of that. The same way that Canelo was able to get Caleb $10 million, you should be able to do that too if you a star. I don't got nothing against Caleb Plant, but he's not a $10 million fighter. Hell no. The only reason you got that was because you fought Canelo. Without Canelo, you don't get that. You don't get 10 million. You don't get 5 million without Canelo. You know what I mean? So, Gervonta, if you a star, you should be able to get Devin 7 because you a star. Anthony Joshua with no belt got Charles Martin 7 million. 7 million. Anthony Joshua was not even a champion at that time, but his marquee value was already so high from all those people that followed him from the Olympics into the pros. He was able to guarantee Charles Martin a purse that was bigger than Wilder's biggest purse at that time because people wasn't even watching Wilder at that time. They don't know that he wasn't making no money at that time. Charles Martin got a career high purse bigger than Wilder's purse at that time. If you a star and you a real pay-per-view star, you would draw. That's the kind of shit that you able to do. AJ did it. Canelo does it. You do it. If you want to fight Devin, you supposed to be able to bankroll that yourself. Leonard Ellaby copping, please. I got to pay you what you weigh. I got to pay you what you weigh. No, that's another way of you saying we can't afford him. If we give him what he wants, then the show becomes risky to put on. Yeah, I know that because your fighter's not that big a draw. I know that. If he were selling 500,000 and a million, right? If he were doing those kinds of numbers, well, then he could afford anyone. How Canelo can afford anyone. But you ain't Canelo. You ain't half a Canelo, a quarter of a Canelo, a fourth. You no, you're not. You're not big money like that. You just happy that when you get on pay-per-view, you get a little something back. It's not that much, but you get a little something back. That's what all that shit is. All that hoopla, all that hyperbole. That's literally what it is. That you happy that when they put you on pay-per-view, they get a little profit because the opponent don't cost nothing. Look at what Hector Luis Garcia got. 350,000. Damn, son. You couldn't get him a mil? 350,000. Look at what Isaac Cruz got. 300,000. Damn, son. You couldn't even get him $500,000? 300,000. I thought you was a cash cow. Canelo fights a guy. Motherfucker could retire off his Canelo purse. $10 million. You could retire off of that. Well, for that, yeah, you could retire off of that. That's assuming Al Heyman don't take your money. Though if I had to guess, he probably got his hand in all those cookie jars because he's a thief. We know that. That's how he got that stable, by stealing it. You stole it from Oscar. You a thief. When I call you a thief, that's not a lie. You a thief. I'm going to post the link in the chat, and we going to get it in, man. Casually from time to time, who are some of your favorite boxers of all time? Well, I'm going to name you some people. Everybody knows who my favorite boxers growing up are, and you won't be surprised to know those names. But aside from them, I was a big fan of Ray Mercer. When I was very young, I was a big Chavez fan. Even though I wasn't a big Felix Trinidad fan, I did like that he beat Oscar because I didn't like Oscar at that time because he beat Chavez.
What's up, fellas?
Ain't shit.
Try to get it in.
When I was a kid, my two favorite boxers was Chavez and Tyson. As I got older, my favorite boxer was Roy Jones Jr. I did like Floyd Mayweather because he made me a lot of money. You know, he did. He made me a lot of money. How could I not like him? People hated him and betted against him, but how could I not like him? Currently, my two favorite fighters, just to name a few. I like Usyk. I think he's great. I like Crawford. I think he's great. Big Katie Taylor fan. She kind of made me start watching the girls fight, or she definitely helped because when I kept hearing about her, that's what made me go look, and I'm like, wow, this chick's amazing. You know what I mean? Also, Alicia Baumgartner. I do like Alicia Baumgartner. Shout out to Amanda Serrano. Get that undisputed. Now, I just watch the fighters, bro. Like, I got a couple of favorites, but I really watch them all, to tell you the truth. I really watch them all.
Hey, Jules, I know what you mean about them aerosexuals, though, man. I had one get triggered on me today because on Donaire's live, I posted that Spence was a duck, and dude had to follow me and say, "Oh, Bud's a duck," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like,
man, Errol's a fucking duck, bro. And if you don't like it, jump on this panel and debate me.
They're not coming.
Errol's a fucking duck.
They ain't coming.
Julius, I have a question
I
for
wish
you.
they would though, but they ain't coming, bro.
I know, bro, but I'll say that because they like to holler on Twitter. Like they know what I be saying on these lives, right? Because they watch them, but they don't want to jump on a live when I'm live. Nah, you want to argue on Twitter? Man, I ain't doing that shit.
They
got time to type that. They don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's the truth, bro. They know he sucks.
There's a couple bold ones though. You know, they'll show up and get shut down. Like Knockout got done dirty on Nasa, and then he was talking junk. Me and him talking junk to each other.
Artman embarrassed himself today. That shit was so funny.
What
Yeah,
bro,
that was
I
bad.
want to hear about this. What
That
happened?
was satisfying.
No,
to watch.
listen, country. Go to Twitter and follow According to Boxing if you're not already following him. He posted the fucking video and all that shit, bro.
No, you can go to it's
His
1
chop
minute.
up game is great.
Bro, he
1
got
minute
cooked.
and 3
He got
seconds.
cooked. He got cooked. Double cooked, triple cooked, like quadruple cooked.
Shout out to Nesta Gibbs, bro.
Yeah,
But
bro.
let's get to the boxing shit. I already vented, so I want to go around the panel, and I want to start with JBN. Let me start with JBN. So we see that Stephen Fulton is not gonna move to featherweight. He's not gonna move up. Basically, they're trying to do Mixayo versus Figueroa. Do you feel that he's staying at 122 because he wants to fight Inoue? And if not, what do you think he's doing?
Man, I mean, I don't know, bro. I really thought he was gonna fight Brandon. And I don't think he wants to fight Inoue, man. It's just a whole bunch of clout chasing, just like the other PPC guys do. So I don't know what he's gonna do, honestly. What he's trying to do, because I know I just know he's not gonna fight Inoue, and I know that's it.
Okay. Let me go to unbiased. Unbiased, now we're hearing that there's been a change of plans. Fulton's not going to go to featherweight. He's not going to fight Brandon again. Do you feel that he is going to fight Inoue? And if you don't feel that way, what do you think he's going to do?
All right. The sad part about it is I think he wants to fight Inoue. I think he got the dog in him. But the problem is he going to take control of his career? Because he's with who? And if PBC don't feel like you got 100, they don't feel like you got a 90% chance of winning, or they get 80% of all the parameters and control of how the fight goes, then the fight doesn't get made. So the only way that fight gets made is if he takes full control of the situation. Say, I want to fight him. I don't care what y'all do. Make that fight happen.
But now, if you feel like, what do you feel is the probability? Because I'll be honest, I don't want to dilute the conversation with what I think. I want to get what y'all think. Personally, I don't think they're going to fight. But in the event that they don't fight, what is he going to do then? Why even stay at 122? Do you feel he's going to fight MJ?
He probably would fight him, but part of me, I don't even give a shit, because that's the fight I want is a new way. That's my second most excited fight. The fight I'm most excited for. I'm more excited for that fight than I am for Bivol Beterbiev, and that says a lot. That says a lot. I mean, it ain't by a lot. It ain't by a lot. It's by a small margin. But it's just that I see a dog in Fulton internally as a fighter. Is he gonna let it be known and put it out there and take control of his career, or is he gonna let them dictate and do this protective bullshit and not fight for the legacy? Because that's a legacy fight.
It really is.
It's a pure legacy fight. I mean,
he would probably get more accolades and more praise for fighting and beating Inoue than beating MJ.
Yeah. Absolutely. But the thing is, though, again, if he lets PBC do all his work for him like Spence does and be the great employee of the year, then it's going to be the MJ fight.
It's like they're afraid of greatness or something, man. Put in the work and go get that greatness.
I think the sad part about it is not that they're afraid of greatness. That's the sad part about it, man.
Nah, bro. I honestly
they don't have control over their control. They don't have control over their career.
I don't think they want it, bro. I don't think. To me, what I think Heyman did to this crop of fighters, because it was an entire crop. It was a whole gang of guys that he got to go over from Golden Boy over to PBC. And what I think he told them, he sold them a bill of goods to where they more about the shortcut, and they think that they about the bag, not realizing, if you don't fight these real fights, you never get the real bag. That them shits, you don't get the real bag in them kind of fights. Like, legit though, you don't get the real bag.
We're not gonna pay, because us as the masses are not gonna pay for a 90-10 fight. It's the 50-50 fights. It's the unknown that's gonna move the needle. The name recognition, the legacy, and the 50-50 of the fight itself. That's what drives the fight.
Now let me go to this super chat. Shout out to Undefeated Journeyman. This question, I'm gonna let Julio answer this one. What's some of your favorite fights that happened in the 2010s? I say Ortiz versus Berto 1. Julio, what was a favorite fight of yours that happened around that time?
So building off the earlier question of favorite boxers, one of my favorite boxers coming up was Joanne Guzman. And his fight with Humberto Soto is one of my favorite fights to watch, just because I think he's very skilled. And that didn't happen in the 2010s, but it was around that time.
Fair enough. Now, in reference to the Fulton question, I kind of think I know what Julio's going to say, but I'm going to ask it anyway. He's not going to featherweight. He's staying at super bantam. Do you feel that brings us closer to an Inoue fight? And if not, then what is going on?
Well, I don't know if that news is confirmed or not, because the last I heard, and it was Ring Magazine reported, is that he's going to fight old boy February 25th, the guy he beat. But I think if it's confirmed that he isn't going to fight him, then okay, we'll get Fulton Salim next then, because that's the bullshit they're going to pull.
But the thing is, we can't, unless he vacates. This is the thing for those that don't realize it. If he stays at super bantamweight, and he's still there when he knew he moves up, he has to fight him or vacate. Either you fight him or you give up the WBO title. It's either or, because he's already got that super champion status. He's already mandatory. He's actually already head of Salim in the queue because he's the mandatory. So if he's staying there, do you believe he will fight or do you believe it's flight?
It's a tough question because so far, he's giving me no reason to believe that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's pretty much done everything to, in my opinion, show that he doesn't really want to fight in a way. So as far as I'm concerned, I have no reason to believe that he'll actually cross the street, because that's what he has to do. And maybe even go over to Japan and take that fight. So I'll have to see it to believe it. So for now, I'll say flight.
T-Roy says, yo, anyone saying Errol Duck could get these hands. If you ever in New Zealand, peace, y'all. I dig it. Let me go to Michael. Michael, same question. Fulton's not leaving Super Bantam. He's staying. Does this mean we get the Inoue fight? That's true.
I agree. I must have got him though.
Good point, man. That's what I would have said.
I'll give him back.
Pound point.
It's a very good point.
I'll give him back, man. Come on, man.
All right, Michael is otherwise preoccupied. Let me go to Jay. Jay, you know what's going on. Are we going to get the fight? We're not going to get the fight.
No. Fulton's going to sit around like the rest of the PBC toy soldiers do and wait for this receive his marching orders from Sergeant Al Heyman. So, we're not going to get the MJ fight either. It's been like, almost damn near 2 years.
Yeah.
And there's been no headway on that, so that fight's not coming. So, and it's like, my boy said he's probably going to fight release, what's his name? Aleem next? Reese Aleem, yep. That's probably what's next. So,
Which, the other thing is the Reese Aleem fight isn't a bad fight. Where some people say, though, that Fulton has never given them really a reason to believe that he would swerve a fight. Before Inoue got the super status, this was a few months ago, Reese Aleem was calling him out. And Fulton's justification for not giving Reese Aleem a shot was, well, I don't like how he fights.
What does that mean?
I didn't know what it meant then. I still don't know.
He said what?
He said, I don't like how he fights.
Who said that?
Fucking Fulton, bro.
Okay. Right.
So I don't know. I didn't know that.
What are the beauty standards of fighting? Tell me. Like, what's going on here?
That's like saying like I don't like how this chick gives head because she doesn't suck my dick right.
It's not the most appropriate parallel.
Whoa! That doesn't matter.
Family
That's
show.
not a good analogy.
Sorry.
but what I got from it is, I guess he's, at least what I took away from it is, there's something about Reese Aleem that I guess he just doesn't want to have to deal with. That's what I took from it. And where some people think that, he wouldn't duck no smoke. I'm just saying that when Reese Aleem was calling him out, not only did he swerve him, but he was about to haul tail. Even if he don't haul tail, he was about to haul tail to featherweight. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to go to
question.
Say it again.
Can I pose a quick question relevant
Go ahead.
to the topic? Okay, what if he vacates the WBO and we get Inoue versus Aleem?
That's not a bad fight.
Not bad.
It's not a bad fight. Aleem is an unbeaten guy, young guy in his prime. He can fight. That's not a bad fight.
Well, it's coming because, Jules, if you didn't know, he already done vacated, bro. Inoue already done vacated. He already
It's going down. Like, he not wasting no time.
Yeah,
He's
he
on his way.
already
He's on his way up.
gave the belt back and said, I'm up now.
I'm saying if Fulton drops his belt.
Oh, well, no, but it's the same thing. If he drops, if he's going to drop a belt, honestly, it's going to be the BO. He might hang on.
Yeah.
He might hang on to the BC just to stay in the conversation. And last time I checked, I think Luis Neri was number one by way of the BC. So you could kind of see
There you go. There you go.
He might fight, he might drop the BO, keep the BC, fight Luis Neri, and he just going to really be there clout chasing. Because if I had to be real and I said, okay, what he going to do? He going to clout chase. He going to pop shit about MJ, not make him no offer though, but he going to pop shit about MJ, and he going to pop shit about Inoue. But what ain't going to happen is a fight. It ain't going to be no fight. Because he ain't going to go to Japan, and he ain't going to go to Matchroom. So, I mean, really.
It's
Hey,
like
Julius.
another question. Who thinks that, like, I mean, if let's just say the fight got ordered and, between Inoue and Fulton, who thinks that Inoue's not is not going to win the purse bid?
Nah, I would say, I think Inoue would win the purse bid.
Exactly.
Because he has two outfits that have money. And that's what I see. That it's not just Bob Arum. Everybody thinks this is a Bob Arum party.
Exactly.
That dude in Japan got money, fam. Don't get it twisted. That dude is not no squirrely amateur. He got bread. So, you know what I mean? If there were a situation like that, but I would sooner expect Fulton to be real. I would sooner expect him to vacate. I really don't feel that fight is going to happen. I do not feel that way.
Hey, you know what? That would make no sense if he stayed at bantamweight, vacated, and just didn't fight anybody, or like, you know, I mean, there was
It'll be such a bad look. But you know
Well, that
what?
whole
though,
side
guys?
doesn't make sense. Look at
But
the
you know what,
Spence
guys?
Thurman
I think
shit.
I noticed this, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the impression that I'm getting from Cool Boy, though. People like us who are knowledgeable in boxing, who have an understanding of boxing, and we kind of hold his feet to the fire. I think he might move based off of that. Just the way he communicates on Twitter, the way he talks, I think he takes it personal, and I think it may play a role in him deciding, fuck it, I'm gonna fight this dude.
So you
But he has to take control.
You think Van
I'm gonna
Dam
tell you what. No, I'm gonna tell you
I
what.
think he takes it
his
personal because
manhood.
it's true.
I'm with you halfway. I'm gonna tell you what, unbiased. I'm with you halfway because I saw how he reacted as soon as the shit started. As soon as people, as soon as that news broke that, he might go to featherweight and fight Brandon, he jumped on his Instagram live because he ain't like that shit. Like, he didn't like what people were saying. And I think for him, for the first time, he was getting attacked. You see what I mean? And he didn't like that shit.
Yep, it bothered him.
It bothered him. But at the same time, it kind of reminds me of, remember that they was going to have Uskateki fighting on Showtime? Remember that?
Yeah.
And this was right around the time that kind of been tested positive for a banned substance. And what did Showtime do to Uskateki as a result of people pointing that out? What did they do?
They pulled him?
They pulled him. So what I'm thinking is, I bet maybe they saying, look, you can't go to featherweight right now because your press, your public perception is low right now if you go to featherweight. That don't really mean he gonna fight Inoue. Like I said, I don't think they gonna fight. But what it could mean is they hold off on sending him to featherweight.
For now, you mean?
I really question why he wants to rematch Figueroa anyway, man. Because one, he won. Two, he had a really hard fight with Figueroa, and he looked very bothered in that fight, despite the fact that he won. I mean, he was getting, Fig was jacking him up a bit, and he wasn't looking the greatest, but he won.
Fig
might get him. Fig might get him to fight him again. It's like,
Fig might get him if they run
the
it
other
back.
thing is, but the other thing, country, is that it wasn't for a full title. It wasn't for the chance to become a full champion. It was for an interim title. And the way that I interpreted that is, it's either you're waiting for Ray Vargas to come back down, or you're waiting for him to stay up there at 130, and then you'll pick up his old belt. That's kind of what I took it as. That, like, you really going up there to fight Brandon again for an interim? Nah, you trying to stay in position so that you could pick up a belt. That's what I see.
I mean, the real
really
greatness is in bantamweight fighting Inoue.
And the worst shit is that
Vargas would be a snooze fest.
Bro, neither Ray Vargas or Brandon Figueroa have the profile that Inoue has. It's not like nobody want to see none of that shit.
Right,
even for the belt, nobody want to see none of that shit.
Inoue's got an exciting style, and he's got a whole freaking country behind him. Those guys don't.
No, and the other thing is, the main thing for me is that Inoue and Fulton was existing in two different planes. Inoue wasn't talking about you. He really wasn't. You the one that said, "Oh, I want him to come up here and I'll wipe him out." Hey, fam, you built that expectation. You created that expectation with that shit. If not for you bumping your gums, wasn't nobody expecting you to fight Inoue.
Should have kept your mouth shut.
Yeah, that made no sense. He knew he wasn't going to fight him, and he was just throwing his name out there, and it's like
clout chasing, bro.
Isn't that what all PBC fighters do?
You know what I mean? Clout chasing, like that's how clout chasing works. That I notice whenever somebody does something and they're buzzing, and like look at Ryan Herbass, right? Look, motherfucking George beats Teofimo. Oh, now you want to fight for the titles, though. Now Devin got them shits. Nah, belts don't matter. But in them 10 seconds that George had them belts, I was like, George, give me George. Like, yo, you, man. Gervonta like that.
George, you remember when Oscar knocked out Miguel? Who comes out of the woodwork? One like talking a tank.
Tank,
yep.
And I'm like, it's obvious that whenever a fighter makes news at or around those weights, what they presume to do is clout chase him. You're like, oh, well, he wouldn't. Yo, bro, you ain't even gonna fight him. What fucking difference does it make? He might as well be on a different planet than you, bro. None of that shit is gonna happen. Now, I don't know about this Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis fight.
I don't think it's happening, man. I don't.
Who on the panel think it's going to happen? Who think it's going to go down?
Bro.
I think it's going to go down.
I do circa 2042.
I want to be optimistic. I don't want to be negative.
You know what's so weird? I think De La Hoya's tweet might have sealed it for me because I don't think De La Hoya has any power in the situation. I think that was a little bit of an ego, a little bit of a frustrating tweet, and just mad at the circumstances. But I don't think he has any control. So it kind of made me feel like, you know what, Ryan's gonna just do whatever he feel like he need to do for the fight to happen, which is give all the terms to PBC. I saw about. I don't know if it's a fact or not because Ryan said one thing and then something else came out that he wasn't even able to get that tune-up fight. Or they wouldn't even make the fight happen if he didn't get the tune-up fight. But it's kind of hard to believe it. But it is a PBC way.
But hey, that's what they told Crawford. If you look at the video from Crawford said, "Yo, since y'all want to do it next year, I'm gonna take a keep busy fight." He said that Al told him, "If you do that, Spence gonna fight Thurman, and they gonna go make 7 figures."
Hey,
go back and watch it. That's what he said.
But that's why
he's saying that Oscar just posted that he got the contract. Like several people said that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But what I'm
got
saying
the paper
is,
right next to him, right next to Ryan.
It's the same as the Fulton Inoue question. Like with this side of the street, you have to see it to believe it. So I'm still holding reservations. Like I said initially that Tank's fight with Nestor Luis Garcia was just a commercial. Like all that negotiation shit was a commercial for that fight.
Yeah, but there's still the court thing.
Did you just call him Nestor?
Yeah, Nestor Luis Garcia. That's his name.
Too. Me too. I caught that.
He looks like that dude.
On that professional fighter's name. Don't do him like that.
Wait, Jules' question: did Hector only make $300K for that fight?
Yes.
I mean, look. This is the thing. We know how it works. That there's a chance that he might have made more money in other ways, like maybe endorsements or sponsorships. No. I mean, I'm with you, but what was reported to the commission is $350,000.
I got a question for you guys.
Create a cash cow.
If Ryan and Tank fight, whoever wins, do you think the winner is actually going to go on to fight any elite fighters, or that they're just going to continue to do what they did?
Because maybe Ryan.
I don't think Tank will, but I think Ryan has a better chance. Just
I disagree with you. I think it's the complete opposite for me.
If Ryan is going to want to continue to make money, he's going to have to fight some notable fighters.
I'm going to tell you why neither of them fight. The people that we want them to fight, neither of them. I believe that if Gervonta were to end up beating Ryan, he's not going to fight Devin because Devin's too expensive. Devin's not going to fight on the cheap, and they're not going to want to give Devin the money that he deserves because he's undisputed, and that fight won't happen. So maybe what you get is Davis versus Puello, WBA champion at 140.
I can see that.
Maybe you get that, and I'm not even settled on that because I heard that guy's a mover, that he likes to move around like Sandor. Not a good style matchup for Gervonta Davis. Nah.
Is he any good? I've actually never seen him fight.
I haven't watched that fucking guy, man.
Who are you guys talking about? I'm sorry.
Alberto
Puello. He's a jab guy, and he's a southpaw. He is similar to Sandor.
I'll tell you one thing, man, but both Ryan and Tank better stay the hell away from Regis.
Man, why are they all southpaws?
They ain't gonna fight Regis.
I know, that's the same question. It's like a Bermuda Triangle.
They're all southpaws.
They're all southpaws, bro. No, for real. Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor,
Regis Prograde,
Alberto Puello, Regis Prograde.
Unbiased fan, Southpaw life, baby.
No, but I ain't mad at it because I love southpaws. They make
it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, it makes shit difficult, but I'm like, yo, why does 140 have this army of southpaws, bro? Like, it's everywhere. It's southpaws. Like,
they multiply.
Was Jose Cepeda a southpaw too?
Yeah, he's
No.
southpaw, bro. He's southpaw.
Damn.
You know what it is? Somebody got punched in the dick and they multiplied, man.
That's
Hey,
exactly
watch it.
And man, motherfucker, right hand came out. You know what I
No,
mean?
man, I ain't gonna watch it. That's one of our ongoing gag phrases on this channel.
I'll also say this, that that's a big part of the reason why I have never liked Teofimo's chances at 140.
Yeah,
Not
bro.
just because those guys are bigger and all that extra stuff, but I'm like, yo, everywhere around here, if they're not bigger than you, they're a southpaw. If they're not bigger than you, or they're bigger than you when they are a southpaw. It's
The only
like,
top guy that isn't is Jose Ramirez.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he's huge.
Ryan's weight class, it'll make him inevitable. Like, he'll have to fight somebody at some point. It's not going to be Regis. He's never going to fight Regis. But Devin, I think he'll end up fighting
the
Devin.
contract.
If Ryan wins against Tank, we at least get a Williams and Payne fight. At least that.
maybe.
No, they're on the same side. There's no way they don't.
Look, you have a kid. Remember that you're talking about a kid who thinks that he doesn't have to fight anyone because he beat Luke Campbell. If he beats Gervonta Davis, because, you know what I mean? Like, if he beats Gervonta Davis off the strength of his Instagram and beating Davis, bro, that dude not going to fight shit.
See, I mean, here's my assertion.
He's gonna retire.
Here's my assertion, like why they both won't, like they before the fight they didn't fight anybody before, so why would they after?
Exactly.
Because I think there is nuance, because like Tank's entire business model is predicated on fighting nobody. The ring, it has to be a heavy bag, or else that fucks up the money. So with Ryan, like given his age and given the fact that like eventually I don't think he has the same power at the gate that Davis has, where you can't just put him with anybody, and that's why he didn't take the tune-up. You can't just put him against anybody and make gate money.
Garcia versus Liam Paro.
He won't do it.
Nope.
He won't do
Nope.
that. He won't do
I got an opinion that I think all of y'all will disagree with me with. I believe if Tank beats Ryan, at some point in time, we will get one of the two guys fighting Tank. Shakur or Hayden.
No, we won't. We'll get Isaac Cruz rematch.
Or Rolly rematch.
And a Rolly rematch.
It'll be like 5 fights.
And you know why? Because Floyd said they should leave Tank alone.
Literally.
Rolly, I don't know how true it is because it is Rolly, but on his IG yesterday, he said he's fighting Ryan.
He did say that.
And then the winner gets Tank. He said that yesterday night.
I don't know if it's true.
He was bullshitting, right?
Yeah,
he was dead serious. He was dead serious.
Yeah, in his mind, but he don't know what he's saying.
That's true. You're right.
Let me read the super chat. Andrew says whoever wins Ryan versus Tank is going to use that fight to justify poor opponents that would follow. That's exactly what I think, bro. Like, there's because after they make that money, remember that they'd make a lot of money with the fight, and after they make that money, well, they're not going to get out of bed for you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to have to work for the money after that. They're going to be like, well, I just had the biggest fight I could have, so I'm just going to coast now. So, especially not Ryan, bro. Like, look at how he's moving now, and he hasn't even fought for a title yet. And look at how he's moving. Dude beat Luke Campbell, for God's sake.
I can't disagree there.
Now, but Leo, did you have a question? I think you've been trying to ask.
Oh, yeah. Two things. First of all, I think there is a way for Stephen Fulton to save face in case of wants to challenge him. Because I don't think whoever he fights, I don't think he's going to be Inoue next.
Mm-hmm.
He might fight Luis Neri, and he's going to get injured in that fight. And then he's going to be forced to vacate the WBO off. Maybe he's going to
Damn, bro.
Leo is always always offering the darkest timelines.
Dude, that makes sense though, bro.
That makes sense.
This dude is the prophet of doom for
sure.
sure.
I'm gonna report that time frame, and if that happens, oh my lord.
Leo, question. Like I called you.
Great.
I called you silent, Leo. Could I call you always on point, Leo?
Always on point, Leo.
Always on point.
Leo has a giant cauldron where he can see every timeline.
You know what it is? He has a pot and he pours old Corona bottles in it, and off the reflection of the Corona bottles, he could see. He could see. Honestly, that seems so plausible that it's scary. That like,
you know what? Leo's nickname could be the Great Pasoli.
For real. I'm saying like that's that's the most plausible, because I'm like, how can he negotiate this situation and save face at the same time when his public persona, it is kind of in the tank, you know? Yeah, you're gonna stay at bantamweight, but if it doesn't result in an Inoue fight, it really just results in the same thing. You know, that's what everybody wants you to do. None of those other guys that are around that weight, not even MJ, has a profile. You know, that's the guy, the pound for pound guy. So if you don't fight him, what is it all really for?
I mean, they'll have to feed him, release Salim, or somebody else if he stays there. I mean, it won't be, MJ or Inoue.
Yeah, let me read the super chat. What about the court case? Tank has 14 charges. I mean, look, they've been getting him out of shit, and he's been, they've been getting him out of shit. He ain't done no time for none of this shit that be going on. So
I gotta look at that law.
He's going to have to pay like he weighed. He's going to just pay some money.
I got to look at that law firm he uses. Shit.
But then again, we was talking about it the other day that the DA, she threw out a plea deal on the premise that it didn't have any jail time. So maybe he does do a little bit of time. I'm not thinking like years, though. I'm really thinking months.
3 months. 3 to 6 months.
I mean, if it's true that the fight takes place on April 15th, do you think that happens afterwards or beforehand?
I mean, we're really, when we talk about that case, we're talking about the context of the case impeding the fight.
Right.
Because when is the court date? When is the court date?
They'll find a way to push the court date back.
Man, listen. Wilson, Ryan's been sparring Rolly this whole time to fight him. I have never heard of that before. How does that make sense? He's been sparring Rolly for Tank. Bro, I don't even know, bro.
Well, that definitely doesn't make any sense.
The thing with Tank is this: if he keeps screwing up, he's gonna eventually do some time because he keeps doing stuff.
But listen, didn't Rolly say he was gonna fight Spence?
Rolly was just talking.
Nah,
he wanted to fight
Spence. My man, he's a helmet. Like, he's gonna say whatever.
Yeah, Rolly.
But then how do we know he's not saying whatever with this Ryan shit?
He's bullshit.
I mean,
come on, man.
He's still dealing with the after effects.
This is more realistic. I
can't believe we even entertaining this right now.
You right. We spending too much time on Rolly. Let's move on. We got
what's next?
This weekend we got Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Smith. Now y'all know I like Liam more than Chris because I feel like Liam is more ambitious. He's willing to fight fights that he might not win. Yeah, I mean, he was willing to go to Russia for Kurbanov, even though you could get robbed, which he did. He fought Munguia, who, he did beat him. He did get beat by Munguia. But I like Beefy. But realistically, he's going to lose this fight. So my question is anybody picking Beefy to win this thing?
Unfortunately, no.
Split decision.
How bad would it be for Chris if he lost?
Hilarious.
Not really, because nobody really thought of him as like world class or really. It's just been domestic level. Like
I'm not gonna lie. Other than that Ben fight, nobody's really cared about Chris. That fight fell through.
I mean, as far as I gotta say,
it didn't fall through. He roided through.
He lost every step of fight.
I mean, Chris better
win. Well,
because
apparently he's cleared the fight, so there's no excuse to not make that fight again.
No, they'll make the fight, bro. But I mean, we know they're gonna try. But before Connor ends up seeing Chris again, assuming Chris wins, and I think he's going to, he has to fight someone though, because he hasn't fought. He hasn't fought. I think it's since April of last year.
Been a year.
It's been a minute. Like he got to get a fight before he fights.
He fought Liam Williams from February of last year.
I got Beefy Smith. I don't give a fuck.
You got you better than me. Maestro says it wasn't the DA. It was the judge. Trial is set for February 16th. No idea how anyone is doing business with that on the table. He must be confident that he's gonna beat it, or maybe he knows that he's not. And he's just bullshit.
I thought he said he doesn't have lawyers though. That's what I.
Do you think the PBC is like stacking April like as insurance?
I was just about to say something about that.
Well, possibly,
that's
bro.
what I'm saying.
What's going on in April?
Well, fucking
All the
Thurman and
fights.
Spence, bro.
Oh yeah, you're
If they
right.
do
My bad, yeah, I
Thurman and
forgot.
Spence and do Tank versus Ryan, now we're getting a card. That gives me that old school
Like, you think they
Don
would
King feel. I don't expect it.
Listen, nah, my God. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
against it. I would buy the shit out. Like, I would buy that. I would buy
I'd
that.
buy that in a heartbeat.
Like, if
I'll pay
if they put, I would say they
85
put
for it if
both
they
those
did
fights
that.
on the
But
same
I'll
card.
tell you what. In all honesty, you know that's not what they're doing. They're not going to put
No,
all
it's
those fights.
not. But they should do that.
They should. Like to me, I'll be honest. The co-main event should be Thurman and Spence. That's the
Yeah, because there's no title.
See, I think y'all
Well,
misunderstood
neither
me.
one of
though.
them are titles. Actually, I just thought about that.
I think you guys misunderstood me. I'm saying, do you think they're putting these fights on April dates just in case this fight doesn't go through?
Yes. I understood that though. Yeah, I think that one of them is a bluff. One of them they're thinking, look, in case anything, let's put it in April. Because there's no way commercially that you do that and it doesn't affect the other fights. You're forcing the consumer to choose. Not every consumer is going to buy both of those fights. So why would you make them choose by putting them in proximity of each other? And you don't even know what your competitor might have going on at that time. It makes no sense for one platform and one banner to put on 2 pay-per-views in the same month. Nah.
If they had any sense, they would put both of them on that same card. Because if they did that, they would probably do 800,000.
Would that save money as well?
Nah, no. I'll tell you what. Look, this is the problem.
They would make money off that.
I don't know, because this is the problem. What does Spence want to make from the fight? What does Thurman want to make from the fight? Then what does Gervonta want to make from the fight? And what does Ryan want to make from the fight?
Well, are they in a position to demand what they make?
I don't even listen.
Yeah, they're trying to stretch that money because they're broke. So
I don't think they're broke. I think that's a reach. They're not
Where are their
set
dates?
for life, but they're not broke though.
Nah, they're
I
broke.
only got 3 words. It's just
where are the
low
I'm gonna tell you
operational
why they
costs.
broke, bro. I'm gonna tell you why they broke. A lot of times when they put a fight on pay-per-view, right? They put it on there for unconventional reasons. You know, normally the pay-per-view model is for the big fights so that the fighters have that added revenue stream to make the money they want to make. Whereas these guys put pay-per-views on, put fights on pay-per-view just to keep the lights on. The network, like what Marcos Villegas said, is what I always thought. I had been saying it well before that. The real reason I think Fox is putting all these fights on pay-per-view, and Showtime to some extent, is because the network doesn't want to foot the bill. So the only way to pay these guys is to hope that the fans buy the shit. And really, the fans don't really be buying the shit like that, but hey, it is what it is.
And more than likely, the network was losing money, and that's why they did that.
But fans don't be buying it because they don't put the cards together. They gonna have to take a chance at some point. And why not now?
They're not that
Too
smart.
late.
Yeah,
Davis-
it's like the fans obviously don't buy the shit. So why do they keep doing the same
Yeah,
shit over and over
yeah.
again?
No,
Davis
you
might
can't
be-
say fans obviously don't buy it. You're not giving us a reason to buy it.
This is the thing. They spoiled the fighters because I'm with that structure that, let's say this, Bung. I don't think that Plant versus Benavidez should be a standalone main event. That's a co-main event, being real with you. Mm-hmm. And that should be the co-main event to either Ryan versus Gervonta or Spence versus Thurman. That fight by itself, that ain't no motherfucking main event. Y'all fighting for an interim. Get out of here. But they spoiled the fighters to the point to where they all want big purses all the time, or they want something all the time to where, okay, you'll be the main event, but ain't nobody really gonna buy this shit.
Jules, you just said something. If they had any real sense, they put all 3 of those fights on the same card. They would do over. They would do $1 million if they did that.
Let me just ask a question. Who here thinks that David Benavidez is a $5 million fighter?
Crickets.
That fight shouldn't be on pay-per-view. That should be a
Crickets.
free-for-TV
You
fight.
see, what I'm getting at is, okay, you look at what a couple of fighters should get for being the chief support. They do get more money than the guys buried in the undercard. They do. And what I'm thinking is, okay, if you pay $2 million in guaranteed purses to the fighters in the co-main event, which would be Plant and Benavidez, and then you have, either Ryan and Gervonta or Thurman and Spence, that could work. The problem is Caleb want more than that. And David wants more than that. You see what I mean? That's why it won't work. Like, what would it take and what would it cost to put all of that as a co-main and a main? It'll never work because they won't want too much money. That's why they putting them on. They putting them on their own pay-per-view, right? Benavidez and Plant, on the premise that, oh yeah, you'll make money, bro. I don't know who gonna buy that shit. Being real with y'all, I don't know if that shit gonna even do 100,000.
You gonna buy it, Jules?
I might, but that's because I flip it. It's not the same. What I'm doing, if I buy it, yeah, like if I buy it, I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna watch it. Not only am I gonna make the money back, I'm gonna make money. Then when tax time roll around, that's expenses, bro. That's literally business expenses.
Exactly.
Everybody, so for the people that ain't flipping it, it don't hurt me to buy no pay-per-view because I'm flipping it. But for anybody else, be real. If Butterball Davis could not crack 100,000 2 weeks ago, can they?
No.
I don't think so, bro. I don't think so.
But man, the saddest part about it is I wish I was in charge of some shit like this because I would put all 3 fights on that card because I know if I put all 3 fights on those cards and sell it for $80, I'm doing no less than 800,000, bro. I'm doing no less than 800,000 of all 3 of those fights on the card, and then everybody's going to get paid.
Probably a great card to watch.
The
You gotta
problem.
pay those fighters though.
You gotta that's what I'm saying. That if you have those guys, like, look, why, for starters, why isn't it a regular Showtime fight? You know, why is Benavidez versus Plant? Because we know they're going to bill it as a pay-per-view. I would be shocked if it's not a pay-per-view. I really would be. But we know they're billing it as a pay-per-view. So if they're doing that, what you then have to ask is why? Why is regular Showtime not picking up this fight and doing it as a regular fight? Because of what the fighters want to get paid. They want to get paid millions and millions and shit like that, bro. That's why they're putting it on pay-per-view. So you can't pay millions and millions and millions for 2 guys in a co-main? Hell, like,
hold
nah,
up. I'm trying to think of some numbers here. So so Ryan Garcia gets a guaranteed for let's say gets a guaranteed 4.
Okay.
Let's say Tank gets a guaranteed 5.
Okay.
Spence gets a guaranteed 6. Thurman gets a guaranteed 4.
Bro.
And then Benavidez the player gets a guaranteed 1.5 or 2. Get a guaranteed 2.
Nah, that's a fucking fantasy, bro. I'm telling you.
It is a fantasy, but it's a shame that it can't be done. But it should be able to be done because all of them, if they did something like that, they all gonna win, bro. I don't give a damn what nobody thinks.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Look at. I want you to pay attention to something. For example, right? Look at the undercard for Wilder versus Fury 3. You know, you got guys on there. You got Adam Kopnowski. That dude don't cost nothing. That dude don't cost shit. And he was in there with who? He was in there with Robert Helenius, Helvetica. He don't cost nothing. And then you look at what was the co-main, which was a Jogba and Sanchez. Them 2 dudes is a couple $100,000 a piece, bro. And the fact that was the layout of the card, right? That already tell me y'all ain't got no bread. That already like, bro, why is this? Y'all got other fighters that y'all could use. Why is Frankie Sanchez the co-main?
And no disrespect to Broadway Joe, but that's why they have half the Dominican Republic on their roster because they can pack the cards with them.
Yo, I said, Julio, just correct me if I'm wrong. Did not say that. Cheap labor.
Facts.
I've been said, yo, look, the reason they using my countrymen, I have to admit it, is cheap labor. Them guys don't cost a lot of money. Hector just fought on the main event of a pay-per-view for $300,000, my guy.
Hey, Jules. So while I was saying that KSI hit 350K sales in this fight.
That's good, bro.
Not bad.
That's a good investment. That's
and
a good.
The other thing is
so
the timing,
poppy, man.
Wait. The other thing is the timing. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence Jr. was a hot topic how many years ago?
Fucking 6, bro.
6, 7 years ago.
Thurman is washed up. Shit.
2017
versus Caleb Plant was a hot topic 2 years ago when Benavidez was still champion.
It just blows my mind.
You cannot do that shit now because you're gonna lose money. Those motherfuckers want money.
Yeah, nobody. That's exactly, bro. Why do you think that Thurman is ending up on a pay-per-view? Because he wants money. If he said something a couple of months ago, maybe a year, he said something along the lines of, "I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm not a journeyman," and that gave me the impression that, oh, they probably told him to fight Boots. You fast forward, and Bozy said, yo, Keith wanted 10 mil to fight Boots. I'm like, see, this
There's that magic number again, $10 million, man.
Same number.
Boy, yep.
And that's the same number that he asked for Crawford before that. And I'm like, the way it's breaking down, these guys don't want to do nothing unless it's a couple M's attached to it. So
Well,
it's like,
that's his price for getting his ass whooped. He's like, if I'm gonna get my
Well, yeah,
ass
I
whooped,
mean,
y'all gotta
that-
pay me $10 million.
basically. So it's like, how do you put a guy, like how you put that guy that he want M's, not even a M you could do. Like if it's like, okay, a mil, we could get you that. He want M's every time he get out. You know what I mean? Otherwise, the only way he'll get out for the cheap is against a Barrios. That's the only way. Well, that can't be the co-main event. You know what I mean? Like,
How much you get for that fight?
I gotta ask you a question, guys, because Russ is saying this, and it's just blowing my
I think he'll
mind.
do more than 500,000.
Bro, I'm just doing numbers in my head. If I just said, yo, I'm just thinking, just trying to think outside the box. The two main events give each fighter $5 million guaranteed. Give Plan Benavidez 2.5 that each. That's $25 million that you done spent to make this fight. There is no
you
way.
cannot underestimate. No, you cannot underestimate, especially now in this climate. Remember, it's easy to steal a fight, bro. It really is.
It really is. But the thing is, though, if you create that certain type of excitement level, you're gonna get people to steal. But if you create that much of an excitement level, there is going to be an influx of people that's going to buy.
I'll tell
we
you
haven't had such a we wouldn't have had a card like that in how long, bro?
I'm gonna tell you this. The only way you could pull that off, and I'm really stretching it because they don't even structure cards that's how they used to structure the cards back in the day. They used to really stack them shits. But then again, they didn't have to worry about piracy as much. I would say the only way you could pull that off is to keep the operational costs in terms of guaranteed purses at 15, bro. If we talking about 20 motherfucking M's for these guys, I'm just telling you, it's too risky. It is way too risky.
By the way, Jules, when you said I'm stretching it, that's what she said. Carry on.
But for real though, like they probably thought. Remember that Gervonta went in there with Rolly the last time, before last. He went in there with Rolly, and they did a little over 200,000. And they probably figured, yo, we probably gonna do at least close to that with this Hector Garcia fight because the Ryan Garcia buzz, bro. The number the numbers that's out there, bro, it's like
98K or 100K.
They're saying Crack Streams lost money on that fight.
Yo, B, that's what's going on. Like, it ain't me. That's what the rumor mill was spinning. So I'm like, bruh, the way things are now, especially with piracy, and you also have to factor in, this is a simple question. How excited are people really to see to see Plant versus Benavidez? How excited are they really?
It's only core fight. It's only core boxing fans.
It was more intriguing when they were both unbeaten.
You know what? Only us hardcores want to see that. The regular fans don't give a
It's only, I just said that. Only hardcore want to see that.
The problem with it is, you know what the real problem? Y'all fed him to Canelo when y'all should have been fed him to Benavidez. Then just would have been a trophy on the mantle.
Bro, that's two overseasoned fights, in-house fights they could have made years ago.
Samson Lukowicz
this year. It's ridiculous.
Samson Lukowicz basically treated the super middleweight division like it's a housing market in Kansas with all the tornadoes. They think the interest is going to go up. No, nigga, it's going to go down. Exactly. And now the fight's not worth nothing because they don't have no fucking belts, and one of them lost to Canelo.
Like, the worst thing is that he didn't just lose to Canelo. He got knocked out by Canelo. He literally got left slumped by Canelo. So the audience already knows that he could get got. And the paying public that might be wrestling with the idea of buying the fight, they're going to think, yo, he going to get knocked out anyway. What I'm going to pay that for? He going to get even if he don't, even if he end up winning, when it come time to buy, the question in their mind is, yo, ain't that the dude that got knocked out by Canelo? Yeah, he gonna get knocked out, bro. He gonna get knocked out.
David gonna whip his ass. Shit.
That's what they telling themselves, and that's the problem, that you gave them the precedence to ask that question. Like, ain't that the dude that got knocked out by Canelo? Yeah, he gonna get knocked out again, bro.
And David doesn't have fans, bro. His fans are the people that hate Canelo.
Yeah, legit.
Like literally is.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
It's like the Lara shit. Like, look, I said this about Lara and Rigondeaux. Listen, I fucked with Rigondeaux. There was a time that I fucked with him. Don't get it twisted. But when the Loma shit started, I'm like, look, man, all these guys that claim to be Rigondeaux fans, where were they in the Moises Flores fight when he fought Flores? Y'all motherfuckers wasn't watching that shit.
He fought who?
If he really, the argument that I made is that if Rigo had fans, he wouldn't have to go to 130 for a payday. He could sit right there at 122 and just defend. He don't have fans. The reason he had to go to 130 to fight Loma is because he ain't getting no money. He ain't got no fans. Don't nobody want to see him. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. The only reason you made that move was, well, don't nobody want to fight you. Why they don't want to fight you? Because they don't get no money fighting you. He had belts. He had the Ring Magazine. He had the BA. He had belts, but he wasn't worth no money. That's why he ended up going up.
It's the same with Luis Ortiz, where they built up this. He's the boogeyman of the heavyweight division shit, and then where are you guys when it's time to see him fight Wilder? Like,
yeah,
he didn't show up.
He fought Wilder. They didn't buy it. He fought Martin. They didn't buy it. He fought Ruiz. They didn't. Where are you, bro? Like, where's all these people that I seen on Facebook and Twitter and all these social media? Where you at? Buy that shit.
Sorry, it wasn't that many people for us to even really actually expect it to be some real numbers off of that.
But you would have thought that based on the arguments. Remember, you got guys. They wake up. It's cold still in their eye. They on Twitter arguing and shit. It's cold still in their eye. They ain't eating breakfast yet. Luis Ortiz of the beat. Like, nah, son. Like, he ain't it, bro. Like, you hyping him up, not because you fuck with him, but because you hate somebody else. It's not because you fuck with him. Yeah, it's not because you fuck.
I had the little argument with fucking Lefty about this shit because Wilder took away his fucking boogeyman status. I'm like, fam, AJ been wanted to fight him. It don't fucking matter, whether he lost or not. He's still a threat. And and he wanted to fight, and he said no to it. So what did I say about his boogeyman status? It ain't shit.
Yeah, for starters, here's the other
Joe Joyce fight.
He was never the boogeyman.
For starters, this is what's backwards about Ortiz's boogeyman status. Ortiz was not the boogeyman of the division. His reputation for being a boogeyman started circa 2015, 2016, when Wilder was asked about fighting him, and he said no, because he's a steroid cheat. That's where it started. It's not like he was the boogeyman of the division, you feel me? That, nobody want to fight him. No, it was Wilder that said no. But because Wilder ended up fighting him, okay, well, he's not a boogeyman anymore, bro. He fought him. He beat him. And before that, this is the other thing. Matchroom made him a multi-fight deal. Who made the decision to go back to the PBC?
Ortiz.
Luis Ortiz.
Yeah. It's not complicated.
Bro,
like, go ahead.
Joe Joyce is willing to fight Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz turned that down and fought on the Fury Wilder undercard instead. So he's not this boogeyman, this monster that everyone hypes him up to be.
And the other thing is that if you like one, for him to have been around as long as he was around, because I think that they really don't realize that these are just all remnants of the Klitschko era. They think that because Luis Ortiz was unbeaten for that amount of time, that he's like this new guy. Bro, this dude was literally around for most of Vladimir's reign as a champion. He just didn't fight shit. The dude debuted 2009. He just didn't fight shit. And then you think about it, well, wait a minute. This is the same era where David Price, Derek Chisora, Kubrat Pulev, Alexander Povetkin, and you didn't bump into any of them? So who were you fighting? And then you look and it's like, so you wasn't fighting shit.
He was fighting world-class Christian Hammer.
Bro, he turned down $5 million when Jarrell Miller pulled out of the AJ fight, and he still said no.
Yeah, Jules, I've never seen a heavyweight like jump so fast out of the IBF ranking when Hrgovic was rated #1.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You could have been the one. You could have been the one. And I know that the bubble's been burst, but what we saw with Hrgovic, that's boogeyman shit. Because the IBF had to comb their ranks 2 times.
They couldn't find nobody.
And nobody wanted to take the fight. Joseph Parker didn't want to take it. Ruiz didn't want to take it. Ortiz didn't want to take it. Dempsey McKean didn't want to take it. They went down the whole shit. I literally said, I swear to God, on my kids, I said, Zile Zhang is going to take the fight.
You did.
Zile Zhang.
Yeah, it's true. You did.
On God.
He put on a hell of a performance too,
and he went out there and unofficially beat him.
I thought he won that fight.
Like, not to say that Hrgovic really is a boogeyman, but I'm just saying if the IBF has to comb their ranks, their whole top 15, 2 times to find you someone to fight, okay, that's some boogeyman shit. That's some boogeyman. Like what is this guy like a monster? Like he got like 3 arms or some shit. Like why nobody want to fight him?
Also, what Shakur was going through right now, 135 with the WBC.
That is boogeyman
That's
shit.
boogeyman shit.
Isaac Cruz don't want, and I'm
William
tired.
DePay turned it down.
I'm so tired of Isaac Cruz.
Oh my
bro.
God!
Just retire,
Isaac
bro. Just
Cruz
retire.
has become
already.
a bigger princess than Ryan Garcia, man.
His reputation
is
he earned his reputation from losing a fight against another hype job.
I'm like, how you lose and you missed the big in the britches?
He's trying to fight Prograis now.
I mean, like what I'm saying. What I'm saying about Isaac. What I'm saying about Isaac is the same thing I say about Luis Ortiz. His best win is a loss.
For real.
I mean, I've never seen an undercard fighter show this much financial muscle, right? This much pulling power.
Bro,
like an undercard fighter, bro.
His father literally said, "Oh, he's a draw now. He's selling tickets." I'm like, bro, he don't even find his own show.
Wait a minute. Like, he was a late replacement. Let's just get that correct.
He's
the sad part is that kid has the potential to actually become a draw. Like, honest to God, he does. But as a everyman, not as a princess, like as a everyman that's willing to fight, that kid has serious potential. And because he has a fan-friendly style,
I like to watch him. Yep.
Yeah, that would help him sell. But if you're gonna be a fucking princess about every fucking he didn't want to fight Rivera and he didn't take the offer from Ryan and he doesn't want to fight Steve. So who do you want to fight, bro?
You know what? I got an idea. The BBC should do this. They should Isaac and Rolly should fight next and the winner fights Tank in a rematch.
Let us not forget he was also clout chasing Regis on top of it all.
Listen, if you want to talk that diva shit, bro, I'm gonna put him on a fucking Buck Smith schedule.
For real.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really marked.
He didn't want to fight Jello Santos either.
Shout out to Buck Smith, man.
The dude who knocked out the dude who knocked out Valenzuela, he didn't want to fight him either.
De Los Santos.
He could be marketable. He could be if he were willing to stay in character. They're like, bro, you from Mexico. We expect the guys from Mexico to be warriors and road warriors. You see fucking Mauricio Lara out here. He just want to break your face. That's all he wants out of life. Is to break your face. That's it.
About to break
he don't want nothing. That's all he want. Motherfucker, you
sick man.
He don't care about shit. He just want to destroy you. That's what we expect from Isaac. And it's like, Isaac, my God, you lost, my God. What's going on? Like, you literally lost to Davis, bro. How you acting like that off an L? And then what you did you fought the great Gamboa. Really, fam?
Bro, this guy's a clown, bro.
Some clown shit.
Leewood is a fucking nutcase,
bro.
Can we talk about how retarded Leewood is? Like God bless him, but that dude, he want to go to the hospital. He really do,
bro.
So
any British guy with that fucking Pluto haircut is a nutcase.
Bro, he's not like when you think about the options that he has, that you could fight Mick Conlon.
You can fight anybody.
You could take a voluntary, an easy one before a big fight. You have options. You want to go to the hospital.
Does this even if he loses, does it kill a Mick Conlon rematch?
I mean,
it depends how bad he gets knocked out. I guess
it depends because the shit is. You know what the other shit is? regardless of what Mauricio Lara does to Lee Wood, don't ever forget, motherfucker. Not only did I knock you out, I knocked you out the ring. You need to get that back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mauricio could come in here and smack me, my kids, and my grandmother, but I knocked you out. Don't forget that.
I don't know, man. I feel like y'all are discounting Lee Wood. He's a live dog in that fight. I think Lara's gonna have to work for that.
I don't know, B. I feel like
it ain't gonna be a walk in the park.
I'll say this, bro. Mick Conlon dropped him early, bro.
Yep.
That's motherfucker can box.
True.
We are not talking about Mauricio Lara is good, is entertaining, but he's basic.
He's somewhat limited.
So what you saying, Leo? You saying you got Lee Wood? Is that what you saying?
Yeah, I have Lee
Wood.
Get the fuck out!
Leo got a point. I'm not hating Leo, but we shit on Ben Davison, but he has.
What if Wood KOs Lara though?
That'll be dog.
Listen, look at it. Just review the fight. Lee Wood is probably the second biggest puncher in that division after Lara. So it's not like crazy to suggest that he has something coming back for Lara. And
that's true.
We shit on Ben Davison. We shit on Ben Davison.
The biggest puncher in that division is Lara. The biggest puncher is El Vaquero. Get that shit.
He's at 130 now. He's at 130
but I'm just saying.
He's at 130, bro.
He is, but I'm just saying.
Lee Wood is up there, and we shit on Ben Davison, but he has Lee Wood looking better, at least technically now.
But Ben Davison is a weight bully, Julio.
I want to make one key point, though. I might change your mind. I want to make one key point.
I understand what he's saying about Lee Wood, though. I mean, but it's like at the same time, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm picking Lara to win the fight, but yeah,
I agree.
I mean,
Late though, I think he's gonna have to grind
but,
that
but
out.
I mean, but believe Lee's got a chance too as well. He does.
Yeah, but look what he did in his last two fights, though.
I'm not going to say who I'm picking yet. I'm not going to say who I'm picking yet, but I will say if Lee Wood wins that fight, that's a bad motherfucker, man.
Wait, Jules, you told us several times who you pick. You keep saying Lara's going to knock him out.
But Jules, he won his last two fights as the underdog, though. Zucan.
Repeatedly, Lara's
I
going to
know,
knock him out.
but look, this is the thing, all right? There's circumstances, for example, that Zucan, and that was a good win for Lee Wood, but what kind of doesn't get said is that Zucan had been out for a while. He hadn't fought in a while ahead of that.
He was coming off a layoff, like
he's coming off a long layoff. And in the Conlon fight, I give Lee Wood full credit for the Conlon fight because I thought Conlon was going to beat him. But Mick's not that big a puncher. That's the thing. And I'm like, bro, if this dude hits you the way that Mick hits you, you're not getting up, bro. You like, nah. Yeah, that's true. You not.
I think Lee's gonna be like 35 soon, ain't he? He's getting up there.
The only thing left in the ring is gonna be that hair, bro. Yeah. It feels so good, Mr. Hearn.
Do you remember what you said the first time Mauricio Lara was going to face Josh Warrington? You say Josh Warrington was going to box, is going to stay out of the way of Mauricio Lara, and it's going to pull that shit off. I think Lee Wood can do that because he actually has power to make Mauricio Lara to respect him.
I think so.
You really picking him, Leo? Don't bullshit me.
Leo might be on something. He's on something.
Because I think Lee Wood is far better boxer than him.
Then Josh?
No, the Mauricio Lara.
Yeah.
Lara.
Oh, yeah. Of course,
he actually has power. So you cannot jump. Mickey Conlon might get him the next time because I think Conlon is a better boxer than Lee Wood. Lee Wood he was on his shit.
I agree.
The last time, but he might get him. But Mauricio, he has a chance. But
bro, if he if he beats, that's fucking major, bro. That's major, like because I could just see him. I don't feel so good, Mr. Hearn, and he just turning.
Because fellas, a lot of people don't know that Lara got stopped in a round before. I don't know if you know that. He did.
By who though?
I don't know who it was, but he was actually stopped in a round with a body shot before.
Yeah.
See, I'm surprised he didn't milk the belt though. When Wood got the belt, and he had such momentum. I'm surprised he didn't milk his title.
I mean, that's what I expect. That's what I expected him to do. Milk the belt. You're full champion now. You know, you can have an easy one if you want one.
Well, nah, this is a real
Props to
fighter.
him, though, man.
You
Props to
gotta,
him.
you gotta
He
respect
brave,
the guy.
he brave to me.
Bro, he's the type of guy you have to support. Like, go buy his fights, buy his merch. Those are the type of guys we need to push.
And that goes back to what I was talking about at the top of the show, that Oscar De La Hoya said it, that, you know, it's really not all of boxing that it's not all of boxing that's having that problem. It's really just the PBC guys and anybody who has to deal with PBC guys, because Lee Wood out here, he don't have to take this fight.
Jules,
But
you gotta
he
read the super chat from Edwin Castillo, man.
All right, let me read first. Let me read the one on the screen. If Wood wins, he's the best featherweight, period. Hey, Ortiz survived what killed off the dynasty.
That was a good one.
Wait, when was Barrios the boogeyman? Wow. When the fuck was Barrios the boogeyman?
Yo, B.
Oh.
You know what's the funny? I could see him shadow boxing when the comment came. Like, that motherfucker was on Mount Kilimanjaro working on his jab and shit.
Hey man, I told you his birth certificate was in uniform, man.
Nigga said his toga was the school uniform.
Oh shit, bro! Then Sophocles looked up like.
Everybody thought
Yo,
that birth certificate
word has it that the reason
was his original. It was actually a copy.
Yeah, word has it that reason why AJ and Ortiz didn't happen is because Ortiz just couldn't write up a contract. He had to chisel it.
Hey, Joe, Edwin's asked you to read the rest of it.
Let me see. Let me go back. And he's on the Mount Rushmore of boogeymen with Benavidez, Jamal, and Barrios. Yeah, Barrios is serious business, bro.
Yeah, bro. I mean, shit.
Serious dude, bro.
All-time great welterweight.
I mean, the way he was able to go to distance with the all-time great Keith Thurman, like, come on, bro.
You know, I saw somebody call Keith Thurman a legend.
He is. God, bro.
Oh my God.
I mean,
a legend.
That hairline.
His hairline is an urban legend.
That hairline is magical.
Yeah, he's a legendary flute player. That's what he is.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
I can just picture having dinner with Keith Thurman and just tons of spit flying everywhere because he can't his lisp and like, bro, you close your mouth when you eat. Like,
now, how do you guys imagine that Thurman is gonna look the night of? Because remember that the night of, it will have been a year since he fought, and he didn't look good with Barrios. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he didn't. So how's he gonna look with Spence? And who here? I see that a lot of people are divided on this. I've seen a lot of people say that they think Spence is going to stop him, and I've seen people say that they don't think Spence is going to stop him. So who thinks that Thurman is going to go the distance?
I do. I've had a change of heart. I thought Spence was going to stop him before, but now I think Keith is probably crafty enough to survive and go the distance with Spence. Even though he's not going to win many rounds, he's crafty enough to go the distance and survive.
Michael, you think he's going to go the distance too?
Yeah, I think
I can see Mikey.
Yeah, he moves around a lot. He in that Barrios fight, he was moving around a lot. So if he does that with Spence can't plant his feet and get those body shots off. But he'll win. But Spence will win decision.
And when's the last time Spence really knocked out anybody cold?
Yeah, but who has Spence fought?
And
who has Spence fought? Kind of footwork or the speed of a Thurman. He's never fought a dynamic athlete like Keith Thurman who can move, box, punch a bit.
Wait a minute.
Skills, right?
Now wait a minute, Thor. Now you know that I don't like Errol Spence, right? But being real, the version of Kell Brook that he fought in 2017 is a better version of Brook than today's version of Thurman. All right. In fact, I would pick that Brook to knock out today's version.
This is 2 car crashes later.
Suspend belief for just a second. What happens if Thurman actually nails Spence like Ugas did that in that one punch?
Oh God!
We got that in the first.
Man. This is fantasy.
Oh wait,
Spence
is that
Horseman.
Is that 154?
I think you guys are buying into the promotion. Like this fight is literally designed for Errol to destroy Thurman, though.
I'm throwing it out there just for shits and giggles, man. But I just wanted to hear what you
By the way,
guys
could I ask Thor a question? Thor?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Are you going to star in the next Thor movie after Love and Thunder?
I will do, man. I mean, if Natalie Portman, she comes back, I'm down, bro.
Let's go. Wait a minute.
The money is right.
Hold on, wait. Is this Jimmy?
Yeah, it's me, bro.
Rada of the Storm says, Keith will go to the distance as both fighters will be exhausted from the added weight. Too fat. Spence wins by outpuffing Keith.
I forgot is that 154.
No, but that is the other thing that they're going to be. I mean, look, for Errol, I don't rule out a knockout because not having to cut down to 47, he might feel better. You know what I mean? Because he's been doing it for such a long time. Whereas Keith is not a big guy, bro. He's not like a tall. Not a tall guy. He don't got a wide frame. So he gonna be like a fat 154. You know what I mean? Like he ain't gonna be like a fit, ready to go one. He gonna be a chubby 154.
Bro, this is gonna be like when Errol fought Mikey Garcia. That's what this is at 154.
By the way, I saw a second picture of Spence. That big gut he has right now is real.
That's his walk around rate. He got to cut down. But yo, I just heard you mention Brook. I mean, listen, the Brook that fought Khan kills both of them dudes.
Nah, I don't know about that shit.
I think he does, bro.
That shit.
Right
Brook
now,
at 154.
I'll say the Brook that fought Mark DeLuca.
Yes, that one.
That Brook. Oh yeah, he'll beat Thurman.
Destroys Thurman.
He was super on point in that DeLuca fight.
He was sharp in that DeLuca fight.
He was sharp as hell.
Fucking that DeLuca fight. But remember that Brook that fought Khan, that was 47, bro.
Yeah. That was not at 154. That was like
that was like catchweight. What was that like 149 or something like that?
I think it was, but that's close enough, bro.
Yeah, I think it was in the ballpark. But regardless, I still think he'll beat Keith Thurman tomorrow.
I just can't get over the split decision. I just can't get over the split decision that you had with Sean Porter. And for me, I feel like a good version of Keith Thurman is better than Porter as far as punching power, movement, and skills.
You know what I think? Look, I'm gonna be real. I think that Keith Thurman is probably the second most overrated welterweight of the postmodern era because most of what we're like, I give him credit for the Porter fight, but the Garcia fight, that was a wet sock, bro. That whole fight was like a wet fart. Like,
who's the first overrated?
Errol.
Okay, Coach.
No,
I thought it was either Dan. I thought it was Danny. That was Danny.
No, because people don't really rate Dan. No, matter of fact,
they do, bro. Trust me, they do.
He was overrated at 140.
I don't think he's all right. I say that Errol. I say that Errol is overrated because he's maintained. To me, he's the number one overrated welterweight because he's maintained a pound for pound spot in years where he hasn't even fought. And they'll have him pound for pound. 2001, the man ain't even fought. He's pound for pound. Most of 2020, the guy was sidelined because of the car accident. He's still pound for pound. That's not how that shit works, you know. You have to be fighting and winning. If the guy didn't fight all year, and then when we look back, like we can look back now and we can say, in 2 years, you fought once. You're pound for pound. And not just being on the list like number 8, number 9. They got him in the top 5. That dude is
top 3 as well.
Right.
And he's not even fighting at welterweight. Like Spence isn't even fighting at welterweight his next fight.
Bro, he's to me, he's the number one most overrated welterweight.
Yep.
The second is Thurman. The second is Thurman because you got a welterweight like Tim Bradley, right? Got, Hall of Fame inductee, wins over the likes of people like Juan Manuel Marquez, a controversial win over
Pacquiao.
But it's still better than anything you'll find on Keith's resume. And
100%.
because Keith beat Danny in a snoozer, he's a legend? He's a legend? Really?
Hey, Jules Ryder on the Storm has another question for you, man.
Jay, do you think Fundora will be invited to the ring after Spence versus Thurman? Absolutely, because that's what I'm expecting. That's the fight that I think he's going to have. I don't think it was an accident that Fundora fought Ocampo. I believe that the reason that was a litmus test, like an acid test.
Who could do it better? Yeah.
Exactly. That's literally what I think that was. So that's what I'm expecting.
I hope he vacates the belt soon. Only belt he needs is a seatbelt.
Julius, I'm with you. I am with you in your comments about Errol Spence. I think he is overrated. For me, it was the Sean Porter fight, because I think at that time, and it's serious for some people, he's at the level of Puts Ennis in the ways how he's looked, that kind of monster. That's it's just
he can't make any adjustments.
No, it's not about that. It's the perception that Puts Ennis is the favorite to beat Errol Spence now because he's young and he looks good. He hasn't taken any punishment. He always looks so. He hasn't taken a beating yet.
Yeah.
But when you fought Sean Porter, it was like, okay, this Sean Porter might be one of the best welterweights in this generation. So for you have to be able to perform at the level you did all these other guys.
If you are that guy,
in the Sean Porter fight, he didn't.
And you went there and got that split decision. Fuck.
And that's the point. That's the point that I'm making. That what I hate is when people revise history, right? In the buildup of that fight, all the Spence fans, every single one of them, were picking Errol by knockout. I remember because I used to get into arguments with people, and I said he's not knocking out. Who mic is that?
Sorry about that.
I said, who Mike is? Like, how y'all figure he gonna knock out Sean when he couldn't knock out Mikey? Like, make it make sense. Mikey's actually been sat on his back pocket before by Roman fucking Martinez, and Errol couldn't sit him down once. Wow. When he's gonna knock out Sean Porter. Yeah, fucking right. And then what do they do?
Let's not forget about the event where he wanted to be the first one to stop Sean Porter, and then he wasn't the one. He was at the fight when Porter and Bud fought, and Bud happened to be the first one to stop him. And remember, he got up and left, and he was mad. Remember?
The fans are criticizing Thurman for his injuries, his inactivity, which is fair. I mean, I did the same to an extent. Gave Errol a pass for his injuries, inactivity, and not fighting Bud. So it was kind of weird, though. So the guys that would hate on Thurman for taking layoffs and using injuries as an excuse would give EJ a pass for his injuries and his layoffs.
Well, that's literally what it was. That's literally what it was, circa 2017 to 2019. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was when Keith Thurman, from 2017 to 2018, Thurman had a slogan. I don't know if you guys remember it. It's a get back year. It's a get back year. Every year.
Come back. I'm gonna be a monster again. Yada yada yada. Blah,
and
blah,
I remember because I was one of them that was saying like, them injuries. Get the fuck. Like, how you got to be out 2 years because Danny hit you on the elbow? What the fuck going on? I wanted him to fight. Remember, he had like an elbow injury. I was like, the fuck going on here? He hit you on the elbow, and you got to take it. You got to take out 2 years to heal. You know what I mean? So I remember that. And then it is true that, like, y'all didn't give nobody really gave Thurman a pass for being out that long. But Errol has a little car accident. Like, he ain't get really hurt or nothing like that. And oh, well, he can't fight Bud right now. He got to fight Thurman. It's double standards galore, B. It's double standards galore. And I'm kind of tired of it altogether.
I heard some of those motherfuckers on the boxing were saying that, he couldn't fight this shit because of the car accident.
Man, listen.
Man, who did that? Who did that to him?
What makes me mad about that conversation? Okay, when Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman were popping, dude, the welterweight division, that stable was filled with super lightweights, and nobody says nothing. Okay, Spence fought Brook and fought Ocampo. Okay, and at least Sean Porter fought fucking Andre Bert. And Alberto was a
Oh,
full
shit.
welterweight. But all these other guys came from super lightweight, where they were moving up in weight.
Get him, Leo. Get him, Leo.
Yo, listen. Will just sent me Rick Glacier's tweet, right? Rick Glacier says the Tank Davis versus Hector Luis Garcia pay-per-view number with all with all platforms.
Oh God!
It's 61,000.
Congratulations! I told you. Crack Streams lost money on that fight.
Fellas, he's crossed over.
Let me finish, which is much less than I had thought it would do. Tank is a great ticket seller, but he's not selling pay-per-view as it's illegally being streamed. Pirating is really killing the pay-per-view model. 61,000, folks.
Yeah.
Yes, fellas, he's crossed over. He's done it. He's done it. He's done it.
All I know is in this same market where everybody's stealing, Canelo still did 500,000 with an unknown Russian. That's all I know.
If you did 60,000 or 65, you jumped the shark. Period.
You can't be, but see, this is the other thing, and let me say this: you cannot be a cash cow. You cannot claim to be a cash cow or a star, and that's what you're selling. Because in this same market where streaming is at an all-time high, those WWE pay-per-views still sell. They do. They sell very well. The UFC pay-per-view,
yep, them too.
They sell, bro. So we can't like not that we do it because we don't make excuses for them so much as addressing that argument that this and that. Listen, bro, if you was a star, it would show up in the numbers. You're not a star, so it's not in the numbers. It's not complicated. Piracy affects everything. It doesn't just affect boxing, but WWE still sells.
Yeah.
UFC still sells. Canelo still sells. If you don't, it's because you're not a star.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm watching this. Wait. Is Terrence Crawford a bigger draw on pay-per-view than Tank Davis?
Oh my God.
Yes, sir.
I'm tweeting it.
Yes, sir.
Bro. Leo doesn't miss anything.
That doesn't sound right.
Leo could crack the Da Vinci Code.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Tank Davis, but even I thought he'd do 100,000. But I guess I gave him too much credit.
That's some B-side numbers, bro.
Never underestimate the power of Leo, man. I'm telling you.
Yo, B, I had to put that out there. Rod of the Storm said, if Spence looks lackluster or gets dropped at any point, you can kiss any potential fight with Bud goodbye, or anyone who's mid to high risk. Well, I mean, I
already
think
did.
The fight is already dead, bro.
It's dead.
The fight is already dead. Like
even if Spence wins, the fight's not going to happen. So.
Yeah, it's done for that fight. But I do wonder what effect that would have on a Fundora fight, because that's literally the fight that I'm expecting him to have after Keith Thurman. I'm expecting him to fight Fundora, and I feel, because I saw that somebody asked it in the comments, like, what are Fundora's chances, and could Fundora hurt him and knock him out? And I say, yes, absolutely. Because they're going to fight that fight in the phone booth. At his best, Errol wants to be in the phone booth getting off the body shots, and I don't think you're going to be stronger in the phone booth than Fundora.
Don't do that with that guy. Don't do that. You don't do that with that guy.
Are you going to do a segment on the relay about Steven Espinosa's latest comments?
What did he say?
Well, he was interviewed by Fahar Marcos, and he's still blaming Bud for the fight not happening because he took so much time.
I am. I got the clippings from the article. I got the clippings from the article that I'm going to use, and it's like he wanted oversight over the expenses. That's what that was all about. He wanted oversight. He wanted the ability to approve certain things and where the money's going, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing is that, okay, you do realize that the only reason the deal structure is this way is because you're not giving him a guarantee. If you give him a guarantee, then he doesn't need oversight. He doesn't need to do any of that. You give him a guarantee, and he's settled, and he's cool, and you take over, and you sell the fight. But since you're not giving him anything, it's a different deal structure. If you give him money the way you were willing to give Canelo money, the way you were willing to give Munguia money, well, then maybe we'd have a fight. But you didn't want to give him anything. And we know you got money. We know you have some money to do something because you offered Munguia money. You did.
He also referred to low operational costs, which means that even if this fight were to happen, they would spend even less money on the undercard.
Oh yeah, it was gonna be a shit undercard.
It's basic co-promotional elements, right? So when Fury and Wilder fought, PBC agreed to do a co-promotion, which both sides had control and say so over the budget and expenses. And the fans that say, "Oh, Bud shouldn't do that because he doesn't bring any money to the table," I'm like, when he was willing to bring 50 million to the table, you guys didn't want it, so his money is no good.
Exactly. But the thing is that the reason they didn't go for that is because, well, if you take Bud up on his $50 million offer, the fight goes to Black Prime. It wouldn't be on Showtime.
Right.
Which is like that's why they're not going to do that no matter what you offer them, which is, I hate to use that word, but it's like, yeah, you like an indentured servant over there, bro. If you stand to make more money guaranteed fighting on another platform, you should be able to go unless you can match that money. If Joe Blow on ABC says, yo, we got 50 over here for you. Yo, Al, you got 50 for me? Nah? All right, I'm going over there. Simple as. That's how it should be.
I got zero though.
I got a big fat zero here for you.
Julius,
we know that.
I never understood this part because the argument went something like this: Terence Crawford is not a big draw, so we cannot offer him anything. So you are gonna get a percentage of the pay-per-view, whatever. But I'm wondering, was Ocampo a big seller of pay-per-view? No. Was Mikey Garcia at that point a draw on pay-per-view?
No.
Was Danny Garcia? Was Sean Porter a big draw on pay-per-view?
No.
Who was a
Lamar
big draw
Peterson
on the pay-per-view?
Listen, all those guys that Errol fought on pay-per-view, they got guarantees, right? All of them, every single one of them, except for Bud. Now, you could argue that, okay, because I'm willing to play devil's advocate, I'm willing to entertain the other argument that, oh, well, I guess the number, because this is the argument that they like to make, and this is the rumor mill. Bud never said this. Bud didn't confirm this, but I'll go with it just for argument's sake. That, oh, Bud wanted too much money. Well, wait a minute. Didn't you just spend the last 4 years telling Bud and the world that Errol's a star? If he's a star, where's the fucking money? Where's the fucking money? He's a star, right?
Look at Canelo and Joshua when they want unifications against Joseph Parker or Caleb Plant, guys that aren't big stars. They opened up a checkbook and paid them whatever they needed to make the fights.
Exactly. Like what I don't like about this entire argument is it's so layered, and there have already been so many narratives upon narratives upon narratives that you tend to forget they told the world that Errol Spence's marquee value rivaled Canelo's. Well, if that's fucking true, where's the money?
Yep, they sure did. It's in Al Heyman's pocket and paid to a bunch of other people while he put everybody on an allowance.
None of this is complicated. You got two guys who they claimed for many years now. Yeah, they're big draw this, big draw that. Yeah, you a big draw until it's time to pay for shit. Because what I see is the big draws, the real ones, like a Tyson Fury, like he's not the biggest draw, but hey, he pays better than Spence. I'll tell you that. You make more fighting Tyson Fury, yes. Yeah. You absolutely do. And you make more fighting Anthony Joshua. And he ain't got a belt.
And Julius, it's not just about the money, it's the way they negotiate. For example, let's take Canelo. Canelo went to the PBC with to negotiate a fight with Caleb Plant for an undisputed fight. And he got offered how many millions? Canelo got 40?
Exactly.
50? Exactly. 40. Okay. Yeah. And Caleb Plant got 10. So Canelo could have saw that offer and said, you have 40 for me? I need 8 more minutes. You don't have it. Well, take 8 million from Caleb Plant purse and give it to me because he's not making that money. I am making that money. But what Canelo did? No. Keep in 10 minutes. It's okay because I want to ensure this fight to happen. And Caleb Plant was already saying that Billy Joe Saunders was being underpaid for the Canelo Plant. For the Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders fight, he got like 7 minutes, and Caleb Plant after that said, "No, that was a low offer. Low offer. What the fuck you think you are? You are never. You don't have 7 millions now."
Exactly. Did you get $7 million to fight Caleb Truax? Did you get $7 million to fight Anthony Durrell? Are you about to get $7 million for David Benavidez? You know the answer.
Did he ever even clear $1 million?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
By the way, Jules, check your DMs.
He got 750, right?
Just we was talking about this emotion.
Oh, he's already there. No, yeah, he is already there.
Skipped over. Yes, sir.
Going down. It's going down.
Yeah, but it's like this. Like what was exactly the whole hullabaloo about him turning down a percentage deal of a fight that nobody has any idea is going to make until after it's concluded?
Bro, the way I see it, bro, we're arguing with children, and we're arguing with like what are childlike arguments, because it's what I said at the top of the show. They don't pay attention to what is being said. They only pay attention to who it's about. So in their own mind, no matter what, Heyman is right. No matter what. As ridiculous, like, bro, this dude is a 3-division champion, 2-time Ring Magazine. So you know the drill. And this is, you guys said literally last year that this was the biggest fight. Who forgot? I didn't forget that y'all was saying this fight was bigger than Golovkin and Canelo. And I said, no, it ain't. No, it ain't.
But Jules, Tim Smith said that the fight doesn't make money because of piracy.
Like, bro, I remember how everybody got upset when Eddie Hearn said that this fight is not that big. They got mad at him that this fight is not that big. So they could turn around and say, well, the reason is, you know, he ain't got a guarantee, is because the fight is not that big. You fuck, like, yo, dog, like, I can't with these.
Exactly.
I really.
So why are they running around telling us all this bullshit? They go,
like,
this
bitch,
is better
make
than
up your fucking mind. Is it the biggest fight in boxing, or is it not? I said, yo, the biggest fight in boxing for last year, the biggest fight in boxing was Canelo versus Golovkin, bro. That was the biggest fight in boxing. You fucks are the reason that Spence and Crawford ain't the biggest fight in boxing. Y'all, not me. I was willing to pay. Y'all motherfuckers thought it was more important that Errol fight Ugas and shit. Y'all thought that shit was more important.
Yeah.
Dumbass shit.
I don't think it would have even been the second biggest fight in boxing, because I think the Joshua Usyk rematch was bigger.
I'll tell you what. This fight, if it would have, for last year, this would have been maybe the 4th or the 5th biggest fight in boxing. Why do I say the 4th or the 5th? Tyson Fury's 2 fights with Chisora and White, right? Those fights, the pot was bigger than Spence and Crawford's pot would have been. So it's a bigger fight. It's all about the size of the pot. If Fury's getting 20 and Chisora's getting 6, and Fury got 25 with White, and White got 5 or a little over 5, well, that's a 25. That's a $30 million pot. With Chisora, that's a $26 million pot. There is nothing in this pot. Nothing. There's no money. Errol ain't guaranteed nothing. Bud ain't guaranteed nothing. So how? This shit technically, domestic level fights are worth more than, because there's no pot. There's no pot.
Julius,
you have an advisor who has power of attorney over a fighter to not accept a $50 million for both of them. Like, I'm just confused.
Okay, I have a question about those. Okay, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, no guarantee for both of them, right?
Right.
Okay, what happened with the backhand money, that mythical divine backhand money?
Well, that's the thing, Leo. That's the thing. the back end money was essentially all they stood to make. There was no safety net because the guarantee is essentially a safety net that, Leo, we're going to guarantee you 5 so that at minimum, if the pay-per-view doesn't even break even, at least you have 5. You know what I mean? It's a safety net. That's what it is. With this fight, there was no safety net, and it's just back end. It's just soda machines, popcorn, hot dogs, T-shirts, pornography, and hopefully the upside of the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's what the back end is. They're talking about all the other arms of revenue they use to siphon off money from. But what are you talking about, really? Soda machine money?
Hilarious.
Money? Popcorn money? What are we talking about? The mini bar?
But Julius,
the bags of Doritos. So this is what they want Crawford to walk away from 50 million, so he can go get 25%.
This is why they wanted to fight in Dallas Stadium. Like they wanted to make sure that all that comp tickets wasn't going to cut into the profit. So they got to get.
Yeah, it was like a beer there is like $50, so they better make a fucking profit.
Let me go to Alex Pez. Alex Pez said, Nello needed that last strap for Legacy Pursuit. That's how Caleb got the 10 mil. Hearn was cool with it. No other promoter is giving 10 mil for... You absolutely right, Alex.
100%.
But also, we can say this, Alex, that the 10 mil was possible because of Canelo. Because any other undisputed fight not involving that man, Caleb don't get 10 mil. He can get hit 10 times, slapped 10 times, but he ain't getting 10 mil.
But can we also acknowledge that Caleb Plant's side was being the more difficult side, trying to make the demands?
Oh,
because he was going to hold that. Because he was going to hold that belt hostage.
Yeah.
They were stalling for a bit.
I'm surprised he didn't get punched in the dick 10 times for that.
It's literally if you don't, there's no agreement. Like if you don't come to PBC, there's no fight. That's it.
Yeah. And like Canelo and Joshua, their fights pay for themselves, which Errol can't do.
And thank you, because you put it in one sentence. Thank you. That's the deal structure of a Joshua fight. You don't have to worry. There isn't a risk. The fight will pay for itself. And it's the same with Canelo. Why? Because they're stars. They're stars. Yeah. They're box office stars. You don't got to worry about all this clipping coupons. They over there clipping coupons at the PBC, bro. Counting pennies and shit.
Bro, like a fight with Bivol, like no other fighter would be able to do that amount of money with a fighter like Bivol as a dance partner. He's a pure boxer, not the biggest puncher in the world. He doesn't speak that much English. Like he's Russian. Like how are you gonna? Who else is gonna do that type of numbers with a guy like that? With that type of
Jules, you said it right there, man. You said it right there about AJ. Like if I'm confident about my 35% cut, which fight is going to make me the most net for that percentage, it'd be AJ fight, not a Spence fight.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly,
look at Joseph Parker. I mean, he's not a $12 million fighter, is he? But apparently that's how much he got paid. $12 million for the AJ unification.
Exactly.
Charles Martin had to defend his belt against AJ in his hometown.
Bro, and it's never, the other thing is, it's never been different, which is why for me, it's a little bit mind-boggling how neurotic many of these people are. That like, if you have a basic understanding of how this works, and you're one of these guys who's been running around telling people, who Mike is that? And you're one of these guys who's running around telling people that Errol is a star. I hate to break the news to you, but he's even less of a star than I thought. I at least thought he could guarantee. When all this kicked off, even though I had no faith at all, but when all this kicked off, I at least thought that Errol could guarantee him 6, maybe 7, because he got 6 for the Porter fight. For the Porter fight, he got 6, and you telling me you can't guarantee him 10 and not feel it? That's crazy to me. All the shit y'all been saying. What big fish are you, bro? In what way are you a big fish? In what way?
And in April, you have
he's moist.
you have Anthony Joshua, Canelo, this Thurman fight, and Ryan Garcia.
I think Earl's a rainbow trout.
All pay-per-view. Like, those are all pay-per-view fights.
Oh, he's a clownfish. He's a clownfish. If he's
I said rainbow because the yellow beezy shit, but I'll take clown too.
He's either a clownfish or a koi fish, but he ain't no big fish. Because look, Leonard was a big fish, bro. He used to come out there with the goddamn captain hat for the press.
Man, that motherfucker Nemo at this point, and people are looking for him because he's always going out fucked up.
Well, you know what? What's that fucking fish that sits on the side of the fish tank and just sucks up the scum? What's that shit? They got like a fish. It looks like a little catfish, and it just sits on the side. What's it called?
I think it's a sucker fish.
That's Errol. That's what he is. He sucks the scum off the side. Because I'm like, bro, they really talk shit, all this cash shit for like 4 years about how, yeah, man, he about to surpass Canelo. Bro, you can't even get no guaranteed money fighting this motherfucker, bro. You can't.
BLK Prime offered you guys $25 million. Why didn't you take it?
Bro, you telling me that
not all money is good money.
Bud got 10 mil, and what I want to know is, hey, is Keith gonna get 10 mil for fighting Errol? Bud got 10 mil fighting fucking Avanesian.
Is he gonna get 4 million?
I mean, like he got 10 million for that Avanesian fight, and everybody's like, he's crazy. All the pay-per-view flop. So what? That's not his problem.
That's not his problem. Like, I don't understand why you don't get that he made his money. It
he
don't
still got
matter.
paid. Who gives a shit? He don't give a shit.
You know what's the better question? A better question is, will EJ make 25 million because that's what you walked away from?
They don't look at it that, oh, money ain't good. All right, motherfucker.
Yo,
look,
who could Crawford fight right now? Because I think he wants to stay out.
When did the boxing fan just become choir boys? Just because you're worried about where the money's coming from.
Well, the other
shit, the crooked sport, bro.
The other shit that we tend to forget is that there aren't actually that many of these guys that we're describing. We just get so infuriated that it seems like there's more of them than there are. If there really were that many of them, Spence's last pay-per-view would have did a lot better. It ain't that many Spence fans left, believe it or not. It just seems like it because they're so vocal. Ain't that many motherfuckers fucking with him, bro?
Okay,
you lied, bro.
Question here: if Spence does stay at 154 and leaves 147, and he relinquishes the belts, does Bud become undisputed at welterweight?
No, bro.
No, he has to fight for it.
I don't mean automatically.
No, I know what you mean. That is the process viable. I know what you mean, country. And the reason I say no is even if you can make the Ortiz fight, which I think they can make, and maybe they will, we'll see. But even if you can make that fight, let's just say Bud wins that fight. You then have to wait for Showtime to make Bud an offer because Ennis will be IBF champion. He'll be IBF champion. Where's the problem? They're not gonna pay Bud, bro. We done been through this.
Then we'll be right back to where we started.
And who will have the WBC? Who's next in line for that?
That I don't know. I have to look.
It's not supposed to be Virgil, but you know.
Bottom line,
Thurman.
Boots is going to get his hands on that IBS strap sooner or later, and when he does,
exactly,
he's not going to unify with nobody.
Motherfuckers is acting dumb with the boot shit, and the reason I say they acting dumb is like, "Hey, bang, you got an exclusive deal with Showtime, right? To where you can't box off platform. That means if you want a Virgil fight, make him an offer. Then simple. If you want a Crawford fight." Make him an offer then. You're not offering nobody shit. Showtime not putting up no money for you. How do I know? They couldn't even get you motherfucking Rashidi Ellis. Think about it. Remember, they offered Rashidi to fight, but the money wasn't right. So if you can't afford Rashidi, how the fuck you gonna afford Crawford?
I really wish Bud would have had the opportunity to go up to 54 and face Jermell, man. That would have been great.
You're not going to happen, though. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen, bro.
Wishful thinking, I know.
Now, on that note, gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up early, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next live. Also, no, I am going to go live for Eubank versus Smith.
Yes.
I need to see that.
Sweet.
I need to watch that. It's been
what time is that coming on?
I think that's got typical UK hours. The card probably starts at around 2 or 3.
Yep.
In the afternoon.
Main event at 5.
Wait a minute, you in Cali, right? Wait, country, you on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm 3
Damn, that's gonna be like for you. That's
back 4.
12. That's got to be like 12.
Wow.
Probably between like 11 to 2, something like that, our time. So yeah.
What about Central, Jules?
Central
Catch on the relay.
When is how far behind East Coast time is Central? How far behind is that?
It's
an
right
hour?
next to
3
East
hours.
Coast, so like it's 2 hours behind. 2 hours past us, and you guys are 3, so it's an hour behind you.
Yeah, it's an hour. Yeah, it's an hour behind. So it should be for you. It should be maybe 2 p.m. to 1 p.m. But if anything, check your DAZN subscription and subscribe to DAZN because here in America, that's where they showing that shit. I thought it was gonna land on ESPN. It landed on DAZN.
I was surprised.
That's what I thought. I thought the ESPN was gonna pick it up.
As long as
I know why. I know why it's on the zone.
I have faith in Smith, bro. I have faith in Smith. I don't know why.
Let's hope, ladies and germs. I will catch y'all on the next one.
Night, Jets.
All right,